Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tub Takes. Today we have a lot to talk about. This is a man. I always screw up the intro. We are. This is a video podcast where we talk about the latest happenings in the VGC metagame, VGC community, all that jazz. Today I'm joined by three excellent people. I'm joined first and foremost by my co-host Alex Underhill. How are you?
Howdy, people. Top takes. Let's go.
Yeah. Coming off a really really big performance over at Milwaukee. So excited to hear you talk about that.
Yes, yes. I'm gonna go edit this hub the title.
You want to? No, the title was great. We got Nash. How are you?
Hey, I would like to say I'm good, but I just lost day two, so I'm kind of bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Understandable.
Understandable. We're gonna talk a lot more about what happened over in Korea. But yeah, you were one of the he was one of the top four players in Korea, and yeah, we'll talk about all the happenings over there as well. And then finally we got Austin. How are you doing?
I'm doing really great. I'm on like 3 hours of sleep, but I had a great weekend, so
Yeah. And you also had a crazy run over at Milwaukee.
yeah, yeah.
Hold up. Oh, I forgot. I can do the handles. Oh my god. Okay. So with
Guy.
that,
This guy.
I guess ignore the handles. They're gonna change. They're gonna change. Let's talk about our first topic. And so, Nash is of course, like I alluded to, one of the top four players from Korea who was disqualified for using metronome. And you wrote up this whole not twit longer, but image on Twitter that kind of explains it. But I figure we give you a platform to kind of explain it yourself. So do you want to talk about from the beginning what was happening in the Korean circuit?
Yeah. So there was like horrible circuit all year long. I would say during this month because we didn't have anything all around the year and just this one thing that caused all of this mess. And so like you've seen from my tweets, finalists in Korean finals all got disqualified for playing metronome, and this was obviously in our action to boycott the whole like mess going on from Pokemon Korea. Uh, so what happened is actually like I don't know if you guys heard about it, but Korea and Japan had this horrible best of one 10 to 20 match tour in online ladder for the qualifications. And for Korea, for Japan it was kind of different, but for Korea it was from 150 people to 16 top cuts that were invited into day one, and top four would be invited into day two plus finals that was to be streamed later on. I ended up going third place, but this was after the initial Trainers Cup, the online circuit we had was um uh it kind of like went into all abysmal, and we shut him down and redid the whole thing. So I'm like the third place guy from the redone qualifier. Um so what happened actually is like Wolf made a good video about this, but um we had a best of one tour. For us, it was at least five match, and at most we could play 10 matches. For Japan, it was kind of different. They had to do 10 match minimal and maximum 20 matches.
Hmm.
This was because we had 150.
Okay, hey, we didn't go all the way down. Sorry. This didn't happen last time. I got through with the entire thing. Anyway, sorry. My I think Alex and Austin could hear you, but I could not hear you, and that means the stream could not hear you. So, yeah, Pikachu actually shutting the stream down. They don't want to hear. They don't want you to hear the truth. Um,
So we
so
are live.
we are back. We're live.
Okay, we're
Uh,
back. So yeah, they just said in the chat that we left off when we were talking about the number of games that you guys could play. Japan got to play 10 to 20, but you guys were playing 5 to 10 because of the difference in tournament size. So there was 150 Korean players and 400
Hmm.
Japanese players.
Yeah, and in both in Japan and Korea, we had multiple problems. Issues mainly were that we weren't able to choose to go to next match. We were just pushed into the next match without pressing A button or anything. We also couldn't see our ratings, number of matches we played. So we like basically couldn't stop at any point. We had to DC ourselves to prevent the next match from happening. Like if you're at five match winning streak, you probably want to stop. Like you're enough. You don't have to do more matches. But you can't like stop in game, so you have to turn your switch off. That's the only way out of the loop. So there was a lot of technical issues, and um, players like Arcana in Japan and multiple players in Korea as well has issued this out, and the Pokemon Company itself found it weird. So in Japan, they did something different, but in Korea, they decided to take back all the qualifications that the top 16 from this weird match got, and they decided to redo the whole thing. So they released a new patch, and the systems kind of went back to normal. We were able to see our ratings and number of matches we did, and I got third place in there, so I was like locked in for day two invite. And then what happens is top four of Korean circuit, which was Blue, Sangyun, me, and Mija. These four players were supposed to go into the finals. So in the finals, what happens is first place gets accommodation and flight. Second place gets flights. Third and fourth place gets accommodation. So basically, we're fixed into day two, and we don't have like much to follow, but they give something. So that was what finals was for. So the four players I've mentioned comes to an agreement that we would use the show to protest against the awful qualification system we had. We were never getting any sort of communication from Korean uh, subsidiary of the Pokemon Company, and we were very afraid about that. Um, it's been an ongoing thing. Like last year, we had similar online tour. It was double elimination, but they announced that they would give day two invites to top four of that tour after the tour was finished. Like it's very absurd. You don't give qualifications to top cut players of a tour that already finished, right?
Hmm.
So like since last year and probably like the issue dates back to years and years of Pokemon Company Korea not communicating with players and making like weird decisions. And that was all that led us up to this protest. And what we did was we decided to all lock in Pokemons that learned only metronome. And so the six Pokemons learning metronome from four players in Top Cut, all locked in. And we were going on to that, and then what happens is Blue suddenly gets disqualified um, without no explanation.
So Blue got like disqualified before everybody else.
Yeah, so we were supposed to be locking in our teams by Friday, and in on Wednesday, Blue suddenly gets a mail from Pokemon Company that he is disqualified and therefore will not be attending to finals. And obviously, other players like um, me, Sangyun, Mija, the second, third, fourth place weren't noticed about this. Like they didn't tell us that Blue is dropping out. we heard it from himself.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was all weird. Um, Obviously, if you're disqualifying like first place person from your tour, you owe him some kind of explanation, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I, if it's like about some legal stuff, you can tell him like it's illegal issues. You can't use that or anything, but nothing like it kind of shows the lack of communication in here by that itself. And and then what happens is without telling the three players, Pokemon Company contacts to the fifth place player and tells him that you're coming to finals, dude. Like, um, so I was expecting Blue to come, but Blue suddenly tells me one day that he got disqualified, and fifth place person contacts me that he got invited to finals, and he asked me if I knew that. I obviously didn't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
So um, so weird series of weird things happened, and this fifth place person, whose name is Betago, agrees on the metronome show, and so the show still goes on. So we all locked in by Friday, and on Saturday we suddenly get the notice. Yep, it's the same thing you're watching right now. Um, we were noticed that uh, all four qualifiers, all four finalists rather, are going to be disqualified. And as you see in the Pokemon Korea's official announcement and the translated version Luca uploaded, they explicitly states that the disqualification is due to the players all having same one move locked in. So it's about metronome itself.
It says like, and hence normal battles and tournament operation is impossible. Like, they get to decide like, yeah, no, these battles are not normal. We're just disqualifying you. Like,
Yeah,
there's nothing in the rules about this.
yeah. The reason we chose this way of protesting was because we knew it wasn't like going against any specific rules in the
Mm-hmm.
background. Like playing metronome, metronome is not a legal move. Like all Pokemons we locked in with metronome was legally able to learn those moves. That move rather, because
Yeah.
there's only one thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it also adds that the um the these deeds are what many other tournaments prohibit by the following rules, which they mention are deeds that can harm the other participants or promote offensive images, which I perfectly don't agree with. Like playing metronome, waggling your fingers, it doesn't harm anybody.
No, they
Um,
just realized that. Well, I guess they realized what was going on, and that was the rule that they wanted to point to. Is it was going to make them look bad, and they wanted to
yeah,
stop it before it could even happen. And yeah, as far as I understand, as well, this isn't as core of an issue, but for many players, it was like actually more beneficial for to get like third or fourth than it was to get second because I believe like first place got flights and accommodation, second place got flights, and third and fourth got accommodation. And
right.
the accommodation was going to be a far greater prize than getting your flights paid for. Uh,
Yeah,
and so um, something like that, which is just so ridiculous, almost like makes me think like, yeah, if I was to meet up with like the players signing up for it, it would be like, yeah, like instead of let's just leave it up to chance. Let's let Metronome decide it because like this is just such a silly system, and I think it's quite creative and it makes a lot of sense given the circumstances. Like how, I mean, the prizing is hardly as big of an issue as the rest, but it's just yeah. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling at this point.
yeah, it's actually a good point because the prize system itself kind of shows the lack of interest or indifference that Pokemon Korea company shows. Like They don't seem to understand what's going on with these players or what we value. They just seem to just um, l let things go in order of how they used to do. Like let's think about 2022. Worlds is in London, and if you think about the same price structure, second place getting flight is kind of understandable in that sense, because Korea to London is far, 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 and flight is expensive, so it kind of makes sense that way. But when you put it into Yokohama, it's like next doors. Like you open
Mm-hmm.
your door and it's like there. World
Yeah.
is right in front of your door. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like flights is gonna be nothing. Um, my small manager Helios talked about this with me. Um, a flight to Seoul to Yokohama is like $70. It's like nothing.
Like
Like
U.S. or
yeah, it's nothing to compared to accommodations.
that is actually so. Wait, you're $70 US?
Yeah,
That's
US
so.
dollar.
That is so.
Jesus.
That is so cheap.
And that was their big second place prize. Like, congratulations, you're second place. Here's $70.
That is as much as it costs to buy Tears of the Kingdom over here, a new Switch game. You know, like it's just that's that. Yeah, that is so crazy. And another thing that's important, and this is kind of just encompassing all of the Asian circuits that have been mistreated this year, is like the world's is literally in Asia, and to see it, to see that like Asian players are being barred from playing, or having such unfair qualification systems is so sad to see when Worlds is finally in your like the home region for Asian players.
Yeah, definitely. Like years and years, we've um not trying to say it's bad, but it's always been in America.
Yeah,
For once, it's been in Europe last year, and then it's kind of moved on to our next door. So every people here, like, we were eager to go into Worlds.
absolutely.
Yeah, whether or not you get an invite, it's a good place to go, and like you can enjoy with your friends. And to do this, not only in Korea and Japan, but all around in Asia, like Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, they've had all sort of issues we are going to talk about in a minute. But yeah, it's been so terrible in Asia this year.
And I think one of the most confounding things about this is that this is not the way the circuit used to be in Korea, right? I think you were telling me that you guys used to have three regionals, a nationals, and then that was how you qualified for worlds, which is a much more reasonable circuit to decide who attends worlds.
Uh-huh. Like, um, well, we did have like tournament structure of having four tours in a year. So there was like three tournaments that gives our own circuit points. And this is not like circuit point that you have over there, but it's like our own system we had. And like if we date back to some a little short history of Korean VGC, we didn't actually have a circuit similar to yours, like not once. We didn't ever have best of three Swiss tournament ever. But it was definitely getting better at some point. Like back in 2016, we had best of one competition in prelim, but the system was kind of weird. Like you stand in line and you get matched with the guy in front of you, whether or not you won the match before or not. It doesn't matter. You stand in a line, you get matched with like five winning streak guy after you lost your last match. The system was completely like weird. It was absurd, but like going into like 2018, 19, we were kind of implementing systems similar to what TPCI is doing over there. We had it was still best of one, but we had six Swiss rounds that lead up to top 16 top cuts. and the system was definitely getting better. It was going to a point. So people were kind of like looking at it in a good way. Like we thought it was a progress in a way. And then COVID strikes in, and suddenly in real life events are all gone. We start to do this double elimination tour, and they decide to do this once a year. Like there's no official tour all year long, and there's just one online tour. But it was kind of understandable back then because COVID was a big thing. We couldn't have any in real life events, and same was the case for West. Um, but then what I mentioned, like um, back in last year, they decided to not bring back real life events, and they just decided to go with the same structure, online tour, and then they just tell us that, by the way, the online structure that you did was the qualification, and top four is going day two. Beat it. Like it was simple like that. So it was getting terrible last year. And then what happened is this year, what I talked about um, in the beginning of the stream. Um, so players in Korea and if I would say players in Asia in general are thinking the structure itself is breaking down, like it's going to hell. It's not working out. And um, the reason like started to voice out, we didn't like make announcements this hard, right? Like last year it didn't happen this way, but we decided to make an action now because if we leave it like this, it's like next year, 2 years from now, the circuit is going down. Like we can see it coming. So
Because who wants to play that?
yeah,
Yeah, they did already kind of confirm that because the silly prize that they gave you for qualifying in the original tournament that essentially got canceled and redone. The prize was to re-qualify for Trainers Cup next year, right?
yeah,
And that was
and
basically
yeah,
a sign that's saying like we're just gonna do it again next year, and
exactly.
yeah, it was just going to repeat, and you weren't going to see any change.
Hmm.
And how has this impacted the player base in Korea? Do you think that people are going to stop playing VGC as a result of this?
I have seen multiple people say that. Like, I don't know if they mean it, but I can see where they're coming from. And honestly, even if they decide to stick along with the format or play along in VGC, they don't have any tours to play in to start with. Like until next year, June, there's gonna be nothing. There's gonna be nothing until like next year. Um, until they open another global challenge in next April, um, which is like 10 months from now. For 10 months out of 12, they'll have nothing to prepare for. There's only like in-game ladder where showdown they can compete in. But like it's a good practicing, but what do you practice for?
No, that
Right.
makes sense.
That's yeah. It actually like discourages players so much, and I have seen multiple good players, friends of mine, saying that they will be out of VGC for um, probably like a year until next qualification comes out. And yeah, it's sad, but I think it's understandable at the same time.
Hmm.
So just for everyone watching, if you have questions, you can go ahead and toss them in Twitch chat. We'll try to get to them. I do have a couple more questions first, and I guess the first question is, so what is going on with the four of you who got DQ'd? Do you still get your day one Worlds invite, or are you just not able to attend Worlds at all?
Um, we're not attending Worlds at all. That is a fact. The notice they made in the tweet, like the Pokemon Korea's tweet has a link in it, that directs them to their official website. And the website itself like states that day two invites will therefore be gone, and they will announce where that day two invite goes to. I presume it goes to sixth to ninth place people, and which means day one will like go lower down to like 20th, 21 place people.
Hmm.
So like in that order. But um yeah, I think this is like an optimal case, so to say. It's not optimal, but I'll just say that it's optimal. Like in previous years, what happened is if a person in, let's say, day one, someone got day one and got disqualified, um, they didn't like send that day one to the next person. That day one invite just went gone.
Hmm.
So so I fear this might happen in this year too. So we might actually not see any day two from Korea.
Right. That sounds like what happened. I think it was Taiwan, where a person with an auto day two invite or an auto day one
Right.
invite won the tournament, and therefore they only have, I think, two day one invites along with the day two invite. And so, yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Um, and then the another question I have is, uh, what do you what is your what is your best case scenario for how things change next year? What would you like to see change next year exactly?
There could be many options, but um players here have pretty much admired what TPCI does over there. Like, I know you have your own issues over there, but like I think at this point it's kind of obvious it's like way better than what Korea has at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So Korean players have always talked about what if we have like regionals like West does.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the best case scenario. I hope people like in the official circuit or like management in Pokemon Korea realizes that um, their player base actually matters, and they decide to open real life events in next year. That's like best case scenario, but I don't think that's coming. Uh, I I I actually doubt it's actually coming, but so like aside from best case scenario, what I want is at least to have some sort of communication with players. Like, um, you've seen what happened to people in here. Like, we get disqualified without any explanations. At least talk to us is what I ask for. Like, at least we need some sort of explanation. At least we need some sort of like communication as to well, do you like this sort of circuit? What do you have to say for improvement? That kind of stuff. Well, I think that's a reasonable case scenario, I would
Yeah,
say.
the tournaments
Hmm.
feel like an afterthought. They're doing it just because they have to, and not considering putting running a tournament that players would actually want to participate in. And it is important to remind the West Coast, or not the West Coast, but the Western players that um, yeah, like it's okay to always want to strive for better. Like, yeah, we have like our issues with the current circuit, but like it could be a lot worse, absolutely. And so it's important to realize like how far we have come, and to want that is totally reasonable for Korea and for other Asian regions to just have like tournaments that give you more opportunities, to have a circuit that gives you more opportunities to qualify than some silly best of one online tournament that happens on a single weekend.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
We have one question here. Go ahead, Adi.
oh, I was going to mention that like our circuit was very different at one point too, and it's it's changed over time and gotten a lot better over time, and obviously we like to see it continue improving. One of the things that I think I attribute a lot of that to is that that the head of Play Pokemon Alpha Zealot is, or I'm not sure if he's the head or exactly what his role is, but he also has a competitive video game background. He used to be a Smash Bros. Player organizer before stepping into this role, and so has made a lot of changes that benefit the players because he comes from a background where he's been exposed to a lot of different systems and been exposed to a lot of different players from a lot of different games and made some really good changes. I'm not sure what the leadership team at the Pokemon Company looks like, but I mean the way they posted Korea nationals, the way they posted nationals at a lot of other countries throughout Asia that they just kind of took over a couple of years ago has been really important, and I just don't know what type of leadership that looks like, or if they have
Yeah.
any sort of like what their goals are, what their background is, that sort of thing.
Yeah, even have a history in competitive gaming. Um, yeah, so Team Rocket Elite asked, is the DQ only for the one Korean event, or is it a longer ban that affects future events like the Yokohama Open? Like,
Um,
could you compete in that? Could you do you know exactly?
I'm not sure about Yokohama Open because I'm pretty sure Yokohama Open is more of TPCI stuff,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I have no problem going into TPCI stuff because I'm only banned, like potentially banned from Korean circuit. Uh, the notice we saw in Korean official website, it it states that whether or not these four players will be banned in the future events are like not stated as of now, but it will be decided in the future. So I will be potentially banned from permanently from Korean circuit, maybe, but maybe things go into better direction and I get freed for
Hmm.
some reason. But yeah, what I can say at this point is I don't know actually. And but still, going to Yokohama Open is an option for me, and I've actually attended to Oceanian International back in 2019.
Hmm.
So yeah, attending overseas tournament is still an option for me. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, what you guys did, at least got the message to somebody. Maybe not, the tournament organizers of the Korean circuit, because they don't seem to understand what the players want. But maybe
Right.
somebody higher up than that, somebody who can have more influence over the people who are running the Korean circuit, got the message and realized that the players want more from their scene, and they want to be able to have a reasonable qualification system. So um, yeah, I'm just hoping that the message at least reached somebody. If TPCI isn't the one in control of it, TPC or whoever needed to hear it. Hopefully, they got the message.
Yeah, and actually on
Yeah.
that note, one of the things I noticed when the uh, the ladder tournament fiasco was happening was that the news of this actually gained traction in Japan. I know Japan is the home of Pokemon. Pokemon is just probably way more popular there. But like it was on like the actual news, and it got people who didn't really know much about competitive Pokemon talking about it. Um, and that was one of the things that that made me hopeful that things might change at TPC. Do you know if this of your protest picked up was picked up by the news in Korea at all?
As far as I know, it wasn't picked up in Korea as of yet, but yesterday what happened is we have this person called Anmori. He's like the official commentator for Korean circuit,
Hmm.
and yesterday um he's actually a YouTuber and he also does Twitch live, and he went live on Twitch yesterday and he talked about what's been happening in Korean circuit and how it was very disrespectful to the players, player base of VGC in general. So he, as I think of it, he explained it quite well, and he is preparing to edit that onto YouTube. So I hope that is a starting point for spreading it in Korea. For now, how I understand it, it's more spread overseas, like on Twitter and like gaming spaces
Hmm.
than Korea, and that's kind of what I'm sad about. But I hope things goes better. People like Sejun and the official commentator is acting on it. And if you see the link I just shared in the Discord, this is actually a gaming website in Japan. It's like gaming news in Japan. Inside JP. They talked about the metronome protest we did.
Hmm.
Um, and it mentions like specifically what we did and how players were treated and what we are like asking for. I think it's a good news article to look at. And I'm pretty like confident with this, like it being picked up in mainland Japan. People are talking about it in the retweets. Um, I wasn't expecting much from Japan, to be honest. Like, um, Japan is like arguably not very friendly with English, if I remember correctly. So like I posted most of the stuff in English, so I didn't really expect Japan to pick it up. But luckily it kind of got some attention in Japan, and um, maybe after PJCS, their own nationals, people will start to talk about it, and it would raise like actual voice there.
Yeah, that one of the things I heard from players in Taiwan, players in Malaysia, and in some other countries is that uh, a lot of I think that a lot of this is run by TPC in Japan by Japanese representatives, and a lot of the structural decisions are made by people over there, and there is that language barrier where if the media is not in Japanese, they might not hear about it. They might not be as willing to act on it. I know that the TPC representatives at some of these nationals were Japanese, and I'm not sure if they spoke the local language, but they were had to be approached in Japanese, and so that would be another potential avenue is if this gets publicity in Japan, like you showed, and this makes the news in Japan, then I'm sure that that would also have a really big impact on the future of the Korean circuit. Yeah, and so I guess a couple other questions that I saw in chat was Blues DQ before or after you submitted your teams?
We didn't submit our teams yet. Like, um, to go back to timeline, we were supposed to lock in our team in this online tour made for four of us, and the the entry like period was from Thursday to Friday, and Blue was like given his mail in Wednesday, so this was obviously before he locked in teams. So Pokemon Korea didn't um it wasn't Metronome that disqualified Blue.
Hmm.
That's so strange.
And then were you guys going to show up to a venue to have this matches recorded?
Right, like it the official announcement before the whole tour started, they announced that top four players who are finalists have to show up to the offline final event um to gain that day two. So we had to be there to
Mm.
like lock
Attendance
in
was
our day two.
mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm So we were going to go there. It wasn't like far distance. Like Korea is a small land. It's like um I believe like um 15 Korean peninsula can fit into Texas. Like
Yeah.
yeah, so
We got some
it's
Texas
not so
people
far
here.
away. We could go there. In real life, events in Korea is not that hard. We don't have to take like planes or anything.
Hmm. But still, you had to go there, and then when you were actually there, was it going to be like a streamed event or recorded for later, or?
Yeah, it was a streamed event, and I have already been there. Like it's the same studio I've went to in 2021 when I went to Top 4 back then.
Hmm.
It's basically like a recording studio, like where you have like white back screen, and players just sit on the desk and play like your official circuits do. And you go there, like play some games, record stuff, and you come back. They edit some stuff out and then stream it like 2 weeks after the recording. That's what happens normally. Um, but like if something happens in like technical issues happens, um, they ask us to redo the game. So back in 2021, I was against Rio in winners bracket, and I had to play him 5 games in best of 3. That was what happened back then.
That is so bizarre.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, we heard about that happening at other countries as well. The way they handled disconnections, which we'll talk about, I guess, in a little bit because it's a little more topical when discussing, I think, Singapore. But yeah, I guess before we move on, if you have any more questions about Korean nationals in chat, you should go ahead and fire them off now. Austin, Alex, y'all have any more questions?
No, no. But yeah, I also wanted to mention that if something comes up later too, feel free to mention it in the chat, or Nash, if you think of it. If anything comes back to mind, feel free to mention. Is there anything else you want to mention about Korean nationals before we move on to talking about some of the other Asian tournaments that were going on over the weekend?
Um, yeah, like last thing I want to talk about in regarding Korean circuit is that the system itself is making the community like tear apart. That's like the worst part I'm seeing in the situation over here. Um, like the system is broken, like it doesn't work properly at this point. And it's basically on an online tour format where you can actually have like sub accounts locked in for your run, right? So um like it's important to note that this fact itself kind of makes people suspect each other and lose trust in the community itself. That's the worst part of all this. People are not trusting each other. People are like ratting on each other. All kind of bad stuff is happening because the rule itself is broken.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, in long term, like if someday like Korean circuit gets lost, permanently, like we don't have circuit anymore, um, it would still be okay in a sense if we could like if player bases go on and make grassroots tournaments or anything, we still have something to play around with, right? But if we lose trust in ourselves, like if community tears apart, there's nothing to do. Like it's the worst case scenario as I see it. And that's what kind of makes me worry about. And that was actually one of the most important reasons I had to stand up for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want there to be a future for your scene. You want there to
Right.
be, yeah, you don't. I mean, it's already probably dissuading many people from participating in the future. People that were just, on the edge of getting into the scene, if they were like, interested in playing, but they hadn't, jumped the gun yet. They now have to. They're now looking at the state of it and saying this isn't worth my time. I'm going to spend my time doing something else, and
Right.
you might not get those people back, and they're just going to be bleeding the player base until nobody's left that wants to play if they keep this up. So hopefully some action is taken and they actually turn things around. Um, and hopefully they do that for some of these other countries because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Um,
Yeah.
which one do we have up first, Audi? Is it Singapore?
So I guess yeah, Singapore is the first one we have. We actually have the the most data on Singapore. I believe that they only got 4 invites, which is a little strange because I think that they are maybe one of the more consistent Asian countries with the deepest player bases. Of course, Melvin is maybe the most accomplished Singaporean player ever. He's top cut worlds, I believe, internets, whatnot. I don't actually know his full list of accomplishments, but he's very, very good. And he did end up winning Singaporean nationals, and so got his automatic day 2 invite. I don't know if he posted his team or not. Danvir got second. I know he didn't post his team, and then Natsume and Carolyn got third and fourth respectively. And so congrats to all those players for getting their Worlds invites. And I think we have. I guess we can talk about the only team that we have from this is Carolyn's team. She posted that this is the qualifier team. Where'd it go? Here it is. That she used a Titan team to make it to make it to top 4, which is really cool. So I do want to highlight that before we start talking about all the issues with their with their tournament.
Yeah, so Titan and the Woach, and honestly, that Pokemon's been kind of a rare sight lately. Some fun picks on this. Like, I actually can't tell if this is an offensive or defensive team. Like there's just some cool options for both directions.
And so there was a lot of drama going on. Where did the Genera's tweet go? Here it is. Okay, it's at the top. I see. So there was a lot of drama. First and foremost is they changed the format of the tournament the day of, and so my understanding is that they told everyone that this tournament would be open team sheets, and when they got there, they were in fact told that yes, we told you it would be open team sheet. Open team sheet means in game you will see your opponent's team after the game starts, and so that's what happened. In this I believe happened in Taiwan, but yeah, I think the same thing happened in Singapore as well. And so they actually.
Do you remember back between Generation 4 and Generation 5, Adi, when they added open team sheet, and you could now see your opponent's teams when the game started?
I do remember that.
Really?
Yeah.
That is in fact open team sheet, right? Right? That's what you guys wanted?
That's my favorite open team sheet.
Been around forever.
Mm-hmm.
They had a severe misunderstanding, I guess.
I wouldn't even call it a misunderstanding, right? Like, to me, this screams that there's just like a lack of communication, and right, like that's what it is. It's like two things. One is a lack of communication because they like did not tell the players what the format was, and they if they were changing the format, they didn't tell the players that. Maybe it's a miscommunication between the local organizers and Japan, where maybe I don't know exactly which way it would go. Whether Japan said it has to be closed team sheet and the local national organizers said announced open team sheet, or vice versa. But it might be that lack of communication. The other thing is just like the lack of accountability. It's just like at least say, yeah, like we messed up, sorry, or we were told yesterday that actually it has to be a closed team sheet tournament. Sorry for the miscommunication, but we're gonna have to host a closed team sheet. They are just lying to their players at this point, and that is just I can't abhorrent. Like I don't know what to say about that.
And like the dumbest, most unbelievable lie too. Like they're trying to be like, yes, this is what we think this means. Like even in the best case scenario when they're not lying, like then you just look really dumb.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of like what type of person would possibly like make stuff up like this in real life, or like what company would make stuff up like I feel like there's examples of this that are just equally outrageous that I can't think of off the top of my head, but I just don't know what to say about that.
It seems like we got a email link here in the in Discord, Audi. Check this one out.
Yeah, it's an image of an email that Singapore VGC players received after asking TPC Asia about what the format would be. They clearly state in this email that it would be the battle teams will be open to the public to compete against each other, And this, like, in our sense, it clearly means OTS, like open team sheet stuff. But what happened, in fact, in the day of the tournament, 15 minutes to round one, they announced that it'll be closed team sheet. Like, what is this?
Ridiculous.
Right. As a player, if you think about it, um, it's like very important information going into the tournament. If you think it's going to be open team sheet, you're probably going to prepare a different team, right? Like, prepare for a closed team sheet and open team sheet is totally different. You would be preparing totally different teams. But doing this like 15 minutes to round one, your team is already locked in. It's like totally stupid.
Right. That is, yeah, it's absolutely crazy. It's one of the things that I think that I could talk about this. I could go off topic and talk about how we did not realize the differences between open team sheet and closed team sheet in Players Cup, and now that we've been playing in these tournaments for a long time, we like have a better understanding of how that changes. But in the best of three at least, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. In a best of one tournament, I think this is a best of one single elimination tournament, right? You absolutely are picking a very different team based on the format, and it's kind of crazy that they just total lack of communication with the players, just straight up lying to the players in emails. Like, I don't know, this to me screams that the TPC is just an organization in disarray, right? Like they don't communicate with each other, much less the players. And so that's what, like, because I don't think that you have this email and then a different action to the tournament organizers unless these people are not communicating with each other. And like it's just a huge mess of an organization. It's just like they I don't know. I think this is just like an indictment on their leadership that they aren't willing to that they just don't know how to create an organization that has people talking to each other. That's just important. That's just basics. I don't know. Get someone who went to business school. Like, hire. I have an MBA. Hire me. I know how this works.
Wait,
I
add
don't
me
even say
too.
what open team sheet is. It's easy.
Yeah, you can add me too. I went to business school as well.
Let's go.
I'm a manager. I know what I'm doing.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like, if I may add, like, I could see this be a potentially bigger problem in the future. Like, the format going totally sideways in Asian regions may not be their problem solely. Like, Japan and Korea went on with open team sheets, but with closed Terra format. Like, this was like weird stuff. Although I ended up not playing it. Um, Japanese finals didn't happen yet. I mean PGCS. But from what I heard from Korean seniors, they were provided open team sheet, but were required to give them back in battles. Like you can't take it into your actual battles. They give you open team
while
sheet.
you were playing.
Yeah, you can't see it while you're playing. You also can't take notes about it. Like,
What?
So it's just like, here you go, memorize it. Like you got 30 seconds.
exactly. It's
The
like
photo-
short-term memory test.
Yeah, photographic memory diff, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. What?
It's,
You can't even take notes about it either. That's insane.
yeah. So like it's very stupid. But what I'm getting to is much bigger than this. Like, I'm pretty sure Japanese format goes the same way since Pokemon Korea is always following what Japan tells them to. So I can see what's happening in PJCS in the future, like upcoming future. Also, like, considering what happened in Singapore, about how they understand the open team sheet, it's like very weird, right? Like, they are interpreting the open team sheet as if it's like what you see in game, like in game preview. They're totally messing it up. And what I see in this series of horrible managements happening is that TPC doesn't even know what OTS is in TPCI regions, and B, they seem to be thinking the surprise factor, so to say, is some sort of unexpected delight. Like they seem to think of it as like we player bases are happy to see sudden random terrestrialized stuff. And maybe they want to showcase their brand new cool tech. Like terrestrialized is obviously new stuff that came out in Gen 9, and I think they're getting to like the point that we have cool new stuff. We have to showcase this in official tournaments. And this is clearly indifferent to players' demands nor the competitive scene. And this is actually what's getting me worrying. If they're in such a strong belief that showcasing these sorts of surprise factors are so important, like than other stuff like consistency, we might see one of these new interpretations of Open Team Sheet in Worlds. Like we could potentially see that.
Yeah, yeah. It's so funny that they managed to get it entirely backwards. I remember when Open Team Sheets was originally, like, I guess, announced or confirmed to be what we would be playing with Scarlet and Violet. And some people were saying that they just wanted Open Terra. I know that that was a thing in Smog on singles as well that they were tossing around when they were like, do we ban Terra or not? And one of their solutions was Open Terra, just reveal the Terra types. This is just the complete opposite. You get to know everything, but also, what type is that Arcanine? Water or grass? I ain't saying. Like, why? What? This is so bizarre. Of all things, yeah. Worlds is run by TPCI at the very least, so it's probably going to be closer to a reflection of the Western circuit than the Asian circuits, is what I've been told by people, because I was also like originally saying like, I wonder if it'll be like closed Team Sheet Worlds. You know, it is in Japan, but no, I've been told that it is a TPCI event, and so it's probably going to be closer to what we've been seeing. But at the end of the day, it is very hard to predict what Pokemon's going to do next. This is, you know, the first Worlds that is being run in a different format. We'll maybe have time to talk about Regulation D later, maybe not. But like, yeah, it is always like they love to throw us curveballs. So it would not surprise me entirely if we do just like show up to Worlds. Well, we would probably know in advance, but you know, show up to Worlds like, yeah, it's actually closed Terra, or oh, it's actually closed Team Sheet entirely. I don't think they're going to go as far as doing best of one, but
Please.
What they'll do is like you can give your opponent 2 open team sheets, and they have to guess which one's the right one.
Oh my god, that's close to my favorite rule set that I came up with in a tweet, which was every turn you're allowed to ask your opponent one yes or no question, and you get 1 lie per game, per set or something. It's like just every turn, like, are you going to Terra your Arcanine this turn? And they're like, no. But then you say no, and you Terra the Arcanine. Or like, is your Fluttermane Specs? And they say like, yes, and like, you know, that it changes moves, and it's like, oh gosh. It's a beautiful system that would definitely not work with 45-second turn timer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, for Singapore, what else was there? Did we talk about the DC thing, Adi? I think we got sidetracked.
I guess the DC thing and the DQ might go hand in hand. I guess we could talk about the way that they handle disconnections, and I have this tweet from Chen Chen up because this is how they were doing it in. They said Singapore, Malaysia, and Philippines too. So these, which I think were the week. This was this weekend. And so if they had a rule, at least in their server, that said in the event of a disconnection or the battle is interrupted, that battle will be redone. And this is a best of 1 single elim tournament. So if you lose, you get knocked out. But if you DC in any position, you replay the match. And so it sounds like there was rampant disconnections happening, and a lot of them in very questionable game states, just because the ruling, no matter what happened, no matter what the situation was always that they were going to rematch. And so it sounded like, Nash, like you mentioned at the where you had to play a best of 5 for technical issues last year, it sounded like there were a lot of really extended games that were happening at these Asian nationals.
Got to make it best of 3 somehow.
Also, if if for whatever reason, if the two players were unable to connect via the official online competition system, both of them were disqualified. And
What?
yeah. And so a friend of mine, Void, is a Malaysian player who actually made Worlds. He got top 8. He said that he won his first 2 rounds, and then I think there was a double DQ opposite from him in the bracket, and so he got a bye into his Worlds invite. He went 2-0 to get his Worlds invite.
What?
Yeah.
What an insane ruling.
It's just I mean this is another thing that like disconnects suck, right? No matter how you slice it, DCs suck. And especially when they are unintentional, especially when it is just the game. We've seen so many times on stream disconnects happen like turn 1. For me, one of the most stressful moments of my VGC career was I was playing the last round of San Diego Regionals against Wolf. In the win and in for me, it was a pair down, so it was not his win and in. And I ended up cutting anyway, so it wasn't my win and in either, apparently. But it was the last round of the tournament, and I thought I had to win to make it. And we DC'd on the last turn of game 3 and had to go to sudden death. It's just like these things happen. The games are made of spaghetti code, right? Like it is inevitable, right. And you need to have some sort of procedure for disconnects. But at the same time, there are ways of telling whose fault it was, especially when it is someone's fault. Not always, but most of the time you can tell. We saw that even as in as high profile a match as the World's Top Cut, where I was playing at the Open, so I didn't see this happen, but what was told happened was that one player, the Galissapod player, that's all I know is like Galissapod dual primals, was in a winning position, and then like bumped the table and his switch got popped out of the dock or something, and as a result, lost the deciding game of their top cut match at the World Championships and they got a game loss because they were responsible for the disconnect. Obviously, that sucks, right? But at the same time, if that rule needs to be in place, because otherwise, what you're going to see is exactly what we see here, where people are just intentionally disconnecting and just getting rematches when they are in losing positions, just as a way to further the tournament.
Right, like this is like the most big issue that's been popping up, and this was one of the points that I've said earlier about the community itself tearing apart, like not trusting each other. It kind of starts from this, like potentially allowing disconnection for a rematch in best of 1. Like if that happens to you in a tournament, you're never seeing that player ever again. Like you're gonna beat him up offline.
Yeah, no, you got a good point. Like when the rules are not even worth respecting, players start to do shady things, and if they don't get punished for it, other players are going to resort to the same thing, and so it just creates this this nasty aura that rewards players for breaking rules or cheating or whatever, and then there are going to be players who swear by doing the right thing and are just going to get either punished for it, or they're going to feel animosity towards the players who are doing these things, and it's going to create a disconnection in the community between when it could just be, if it was handled in the rules, if it was handled up top by the organizers, you wouldn't be having the issues in the first place.
Right.
Let's see. Did we talk about this? I'm just making sure we covered everything.
And then I guess one of the consequences of that, I guess, is I guess we should talk about there was a DQ at Singapore, and there were presumably multiple DQs over the course of this, but one of the more notable DQs, because Setsuku is pretty well known in the community, manager of Team China for World Cup, and I've like played them in multiple team tours, so I know they're pretty active in the community. And they released a tweet longer talking about how they were matched up against a player who is notable for doing this sort of thing in the past. I'm not going to name names, but they in top 32, they were matched up with a player, and they were in a winning position, and they got a disconnect. And they are also they are a former judge, and so they know they screenshotted the error page. This is standard. When I've had DCs in tournaments, the judges will look at your error page to see if this is a recurring trend. And in this case, this player had consecutive error codes that do indicate a disconnection via putting the switch to sleep. And so the organizers were notified, and they still called it a rematch. This player has apologized for doing the same thing in return when they were in a losing position. And then game 3, their opponent once again disconnected. And this time, the player was caught and disqualified. And so this is, and they did move on. And they did not, and I don't think they made Worlds, but like I think they lost in top 16. But this is a, this is something that, this is the consequences of what happened. This is kind of showing that like even when provided with evidence, they aren't doing it. It's also like the lack of consequences for your actions, right? Like again, it's a single elimination tournament. If you are in a losing position in a best of 1 tournament, and you have nothing to lose. I mean, you have your like ethics to lose, but like you have nothing else to lose. Your moral standing.
You have no morals.
Your community standing.
Yeah. Like if you have no morals,
you don't care about that.
Then you can disconnect, and you don't really like lose anything competitively. If you're at risk of being tour banned, then you do. But if it's again single elimination, if you're 3-0, you're not going to do something that might get you DQ'd in a Swiss tournament, because you can go 7-2 and make it to day 2, right? And you're fine. In a tournament like this, you have more of an incentive to cheat because your tournament is on the line every single round. And so that's another thing. On top of that, this is a player, again, who I believe got disqualified from Singaporean Nationals last year as well. And so I think Melvin has talked about that in the past. And so it's kind of crazy to see this same person get DQ'd from Singaporean Nationals 2 years in a row and still be to play. I think that's very silly, personally. But I did want to talk about this for longer.
Adi wants to keep it anonymous, and I will respect that. But the person, I will come out and say it on the podcast, is a clown, and I'm going to keep it at that. Anonymous person, please clean up your act. You are a clown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like,
and a lot of people know. A lot of people do know. It's not a big secret. You can find the answer for yourself if you want. But I guess out of respect to the person who posted this tweet longer, we will keep it.
This is for liability concerns. I don't want to get sued. All right.
Ollie doesn't care about anyone's feelings.
Also,
We're
like
gonna
worth
start it
mentioning.
separate. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry. Also worth mentioning, like Japanese community is very like hard concentrated onto ladder stuff, like in-game ladder rather than showdowns. And this anonymous player was like called out by multiple Japanese players for disconnecting on online ladder, like I mean like in-game ladder multiple times.
So I think that might be it for Singapore, and then we have Hong Kong to talk a bit about. We were kind of jumping around a lot, but one of the things that I think is important to mention from the Hong Kong tournament is not just the results, but this tweet from James Bake that I believe he was watching the stream. I was, at a tournament this weekend. I couldn't catch any of it, but the stream showcased like a spectator mode, and a lot of this is just like from what I've been hearing, but I heard like the spectator mode only works for like best of 1 for some reason. I don't know why. That's confusing. But also, like, how are we just finding out that this is even in the game? You can see in the image, like, clearly, like, there are 4 sets of HP. Like, this is definitely a third-party viewer. They've got both your times displayed at the top, as well as the 6 Pokemon on each side. Like, it's just... it looks clean. Why do we have this? Where is this? I also... there was also, like, rumor going around, and this is just rumor, that they also had battle box locking. And I saw a tweet about that, but it was deleted, and so I don't know if that was just like misinformation or if it was, or if the big TPCI took it down. No, or if it just wasn't true. Yeah. Regardless, this image does not look like it's like faked or anything. This looks very clearly like a spectator, spectator perspective, and yeah, I want that.
It looks good too.
But otherwise, this tournament was, I think, the first tournament of the weekend won by the Worm. Orthworm took it, with a supporting cast of. Let me find the one that has.
This is the Rotom Wash variant.
Yeah, the
Right.
Rotom Wash variant.
They had the standard four that you always see: Orthworm, Tinglu, Dragonite, Fluttermane, and they had Chenpao and Rotom Wash as the last two.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. This is a choice ban Tinglu, so the team is just really showing how Earthquake spam can be plenty strong. The Fluttermane notably has a ice move and probably is speed boosting with Icy Wind. And yeah, I think this is actually pretty fun. Just like seeing Orthworm, a lot of the teams are built somewhat similarly, but just like the fact that this was the weekend of Worm, we've seen it have some pretty decent finishes, especially it's been doing well in South America, in LATAM. But now, yeah, everyone just decided it's Worm's time. Let's take it everywhere else.
Right. Also, like worth mentioning, like, I believe I have pretty good understanding in Worm myself. I went to third place in Korea with Worm myself.
You were using the Worm. Let's go.
Yeah, I used Roaring Moon variant. It was
Okay.
pretty cool to use, and my team was based on David Kotesh team he used in EUIC,
Yep.
and I can see.
The Worm Father.
Yep. I can see the Hong Kong team going the same direction. Like I can see where this Hong Kong winning team comes from as well. Like I've myself considered using Rotom Wash myself, and it makes totally sense because one of the most hard matchups you go against as a Worm user yourself is Dondozo, and using Rotom Wash helps both using Earthquake spam with Bandit Tinglu, and B, also against Donzozo itself. It can go for Will-O-Wisp, although it misses a lot, and it doesn't get hit by most moves Dondozo has to offer unless it's like terrestrializing into grass type or anything.
It's also helpful for Gyarados leads, which you often see into Earthworm teams because they want to taunt the Shed-Tail. And if that Gyarados wants to take a Thunderbolt, well, then it's either going to have to Terra or switch out, kind of limiting their options. So yeah, Rotom Wash seems like a really cool pick for a Earthworm team.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of casting the Wide League tournament, not this weekend, but the weekend before that. And this player, AA Pokemon, got to the finals with the same team. And so I got a sneak preview of what was going to come at Hong Kong, and that was really cool. And it was really cool to get to cast that. It put on a display, and Worm, obviously, we're going to talk more about Worm because it did do very well at some other tournaments, also won another tournament. But yeah, just I think especially this Rotom Wash variant is super, super good into the New Balance team. That's the matchup that I got to cast with it, where they are so reliant on Gyarados to beat it, and then the Rotom Wash just says no to the Gyarados and continues to enable your Tinglu. Yes, your damage does get reduced. Your Rotom Wash's damage gets reduced if you put it next to a Tinglu, but like, who cares? It's just that synergy is pretty cool, especially it's like a very targeted meta call.
We got another Worm user in the Twitch chat. Hell yeah. Love to see it. Worm gang, Worm sweep. I'm sorry that I couldn't bring it home. Spoilers. Anyway, let's talk about Philippines. We have, let me see, I actually haven't opened this link. Thanks,
So Philippines, Victory Road, from what I understand, has not like posted teams or posted like results from these nationals. Yeah, they haven't updated it. We do have the winner is Francis Tai, who goes by Tyrant VGC online. So congrats to them for winning. I don't think they posted their team, at least I did not see it. Did they? Wait, is this it? No. They have some rental codes up, but I think it's an old one.
these are very old, yeah.
Someone did post the the top 4 team, one of the top 4 teams, which is just wild. It was a Wo Chen stall team that made it to top 4. No until Moxie boosted, but there was a Wo Chen Toxapex team that made it all the way to top 4 of the Filipino nationals, and I believe got them a day 1 Worlds invite, I think. So that was pretty cool.
There's been one like Western player. I think their last name is Song. I can't remember. I'm not positive. But that's been just spamming Toxapex stall and just been trying to do it at every tournament. And I always like nod in respect. Although I don't think they've been doing stuff like this. I'm just noticing the Wo Chien has weakness policy, and I am very worried.
Oh my god. Yeah, they are.
Perish Song on the Flutter main without any way to trap. It's just like, I mean, Perish Song's like a strong move no matter what, forcing, either that's your Dondozo matchup, or you want to force out a boosting Pokemon or clean up an endgame. Perish Song's very strong. But not something we see often, and at least without Gothitelle. And yeah, otherwise some strong picks here. This is just awesome. So funny.
Okay, low key, offensive Wo Chen. Kind of spooky in closed team sheet. I have definitely lost to Terrafire, Terrablast, Wo Chen on ladder. That is scary to face. And I think it was weakness policy as well. So, it was growth. It was growth in the sun. That's what happened. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Terrafire, Terrablast, growth. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, growth. Yeah, growth's a funky move. I think Brute Bonnet gets growth, and it's like, I think one of the, actually this I might be crazy for saying this, but it might be one of the only Protomons with a boosting move. I guess like Screamtail gets Howl, so, and I know that like Iron Hands get Sword Stance, so I was keeping it Proto on purpose. Oh no, there's like Bulk Up and Calm Mind on them. Maybe it's just that none of them get like the 2 boosting Sword Stance and Nasty Block. But regardless, I hope Body isn't like going and fact checking me. I feel like I hear.
No. I am sending a message to Chase telling him that Brute Bonnet gets growth. We're breaking this for now.
Brute Bonnet does get growth, and it's pretty awesome.
I just know Ring gets fucked up, but that's kind of all I know.
Dude, I was looking for the last Pokemon on my Fresno team, and I'm like, okay, I want a priority move. I want to be able to set up, and I want grass coverage. I was looking at Swords Dance, Woodhammer, Mimikyu. I was looking at Trailblaze, Swords Dance, Scizor, and now you're telling me that Brute Bonnet gets growth? That thing's going on right now. Yeah,
I mean, it's surely been noticed by players building all these Sun Spam teams, and there's a reason you haven't seen it at the top.
Yet. You haven't seen it at the top yet.
Wait for Fresno.
Wait for Fresno.
So yeah, I think we kind of covered some of these other things, but I think the last thing, because we already talked about the Gen tweet, right?
I did talk about that. I guess the text font also had a tweet that kind of talked about.
This is referring to Malaysia, right? I remember Void, again, as we referenced earlier, Void, somebody
I believe yeah, this was, I think, Malaysia. I think text font is a Malaysian player. Not 100% sure about that, but I think Void was also talking about this, that yeah, like it just like it was very, very delayed, possibly because of the miscommunications that about open team sheet versus closed team sheet. It sounds like the round 1 was delayed by an hour. Round 2 was also delayed by a full hour because of DC issues. I can also see that. Actually, this is best of 1. It really shouldn't even take an hour for a round. It should be like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? But DC issues I can definitely see being a problem for this, just because, yeah, if you're playing a best of 5, I can see a round taking an hour and a half. That's crazy. Yeah. It just seems like a huge mess in every single tournament.
Yeah, it was just run very poorly. I mean, this is just par for the course, I guess. Po asked, when is Fresno? That's this coming weekend. We're actually going to be doing a preview for it shortly, after we talk about the tournaments that took place this past weekend. I think that's the next subject here, Adi, right?
Yeah, sorry. I'm like a little distracted because I'm currently getting all the team sheets for Milwaukee, because we don't actually have those. I actually tweeted about that. I tweeted at Arcanine Labs, like, yo, what's going on? Why don't we have team sheets for Milwaukee? They did actually respond. They were very nice about it, despite someone, I think, being a little, I don't know. Anyways, they did say that, like, someone was like, man, they slept in today, and they were like, nah, it's not up to us. It's up to the TOs. Like, TOs will normally decide when to publish it. Everyone's traveling, and today, literally 45 minutes before Top Take started, they did actually publish all the team sheets, and so I don't think the whatever it's called
Usage stats.
yeah, and I'm just looking for it's Cut Explorer. Cut Explorer stats whatever has it yet. But I have my own personal tool that I use to get all the team sheets, and so I'm trying to get all the teams for Milwaukee right now. So don't worry, that'll come. But just know that we got Milwaukee team sheets because I tweeted at Arcanine Labs and no other reason. You're welcome, everyone.
They would have never released them had it not been for our hero, Adi.
Let's talk more about Worm, though. Nico Davide Cognetta won Turin, or it's listed as Torino in here, but Victory Road calls it Turin. I'm going to call it Turin.
Turin is the English name. Torino is the Italian.
Oh, that makes
way of saying
sense. Okay. Is it like a word or something? No, never mind. Not important. Turin was won by Nico Davide Cognetta with a Worm team. Desu, as he goes by online, I believe he was like kind of the second step in the Worm chain for me.
No, you were the second step in the Worm chain.
No,
No, because you used it in the GC, and what happened was Desu was on my NPA team, and he was asking me a bunch of questions about the team that we built for the GC, and he built his team. His initial draft of it was pretty heavily based on what we did and what Dave Katesh did. So we were actually step 2.
Okay, step 2, and so but he did come in and do well with it at something, or like he entered and
he got top 4 at the GC with it. He also won the deciding set of NPA finals with it.
Okay, so yeah.
More importantly, but he also did get top 4.
NPA is not canon. Okay, but I forgot it made a really good GC run with the Worm, and so I guess I was the second step in it. We were, but Dusty was using that, and then I actually don't think this has a lot of major changes from what Dusty was using in it, but in that GC. However, we've got the core 4 that we mentioned earlier. We've got Tinglu, Worm, best friends forever. We got Gyarados or Dragonite, the main recipient of the Shed Tail, and we've got Fluttermane because you could call it a part of the core 4, but it's also just kind of part of the format. And then Gyarados, Shenpao rounding it out. Gyarados providing Intimidate and Bulldoze, both really good tools for Earthworm. And Shenpao a good cleanup mon, especially next to Dragonite, but also a good recipient of a sub. Focus Sash Pokemon tend to be awesome to pass a Shed Tail sub to, because now, instead of it being 2 hits to take them out, it is 3. And for a Pokemon that is just consistently chipping away at you really hard, like Shenpao, that can be really annoying. A very well-built Worm team, I gotta say, and not too dissimilar from what I'm running when you look at the core 4 Pokemon that is Worm, Tinglu, Fluttermane, and Dragonite. Went, I think, 12-2. Yeah, 12-2 in Swiss, winning all the way to finals. I wanted to give a shout-outs to... I'm kind of just jumping all over the place, but Piox went 13-1. We haven't actually seen... I don't know if we've seen many 13-1s at the regional level. We saw Paul and Agati were unstoppable at a UIC, and both went 13-1 in Swiss, or Swiss and the Day 2 Swiss combined at that event, and then they made it to the finals. So those guys were definitely on something. But Piox went 13-1 at this tournament, I believe, with a record of 26-5. He tweeted out, so really, really impressive, and using. A cool team to boot. It's the Stealth Rock stuff. Nails brought that to a tournament earlier this year with the Tinglu Dondozo, except he did not have a Tatsugiri. Tatsugiri is here. I think Protect, we learned, was a team sheet error, and I'm not sure how that was resolved, by the way. I actually didn't hear the update on that. Did he have to play with Protect for the rest of the tournament, or what? It's Scarf Protect. I mean... I ran Scarf Protect at Worlds, so on purpose back in 2018. I sometimes you look at it, and you're like, that's actually a choice. You can do that. It's allowed.
This is a little more awkward, obviously, because it's a Tatsugiri, and so a lot of times his first attack is right after the Dondozo dies and you're down to 2 Pokemon. And so you really can't lock into Protect, or alternatively, you are protecting a turn turn to switch Dondozo in, but then when Dondozo dies, you're locked into Protect and not a Pokemon, and so
it doesn't work. It doesn't
work nearly as well as it does on like Goldengo. Could reasonably run Scarf Protect and just like 1 have Trick and then also have Protect, or 2 pivot back out pretty easily after tanking or forcing them to target it. But yeah, not.
No, I know nobody asked, but the reason I had Scarf Protect back in the day was because it was on a Parish team. But just because, you would sometimes, switch into Pokemon to stall Parish turns, but you were really just going to wanting to be clicking Protect and then switching it back out to get rid of the Parish counter and such. But who asked? Let's move on. So I guess, otherwise, CBD Knight, and regular old Chen Pao, Assault Vest, Glamora. We've seen this guy on Dozo teams. Like, a lot of these Pokemon just make sense to me. They look like they're all cleaning up after each other very well. And so, very cool team. 13-1 Swiss is very impressive.
All right, I can let you know that I do actually have data from Milwaukee with all the teams, so we can talk about that whenever. But let's keep talking. We'll get to that
Turin. Sanvi. Simone Sanvito made it to second. Go ahead, Dottie.
Oh yeah, Sanvi got second. Boring team. We don't have to talk about that.
I was gonna go through the same motions. Don't worry. I just wanted to make sure if you had a different point to make, get there. But
no, I wanted to talk about look at the third place team. It's so cool. Yeah, it's got a Magnezone and a Breloom on it. We got to talk about that one. Sorry, Sanvi.
Sanvi, you've been a boring team player for like years. Yeah, we're not going to talk about your team.
But congrats on second.
Congrats on second.
Congrats on getting second with a boring team. Let's talk about the other 4 players in top 4, 3 players in top 4 who all had based teams. We saw the Worm team in first. We got Paldea Taurus in top 4, and then more importantly, we got Magnezone Breloom, which is super super cool. This is a team. About this Breloom. Yeah. Okay. So I was watching bits and pieces of Turin, and I got to see Roberto's stream match in day 1, and he was talking about the Magnezone pretty extensively, and it was he said that it was timid, and it was sturdy. And so you get to 1, Terra Flying is a really good defensive Terra type. He's just fighting, you resist ground, which is really nice. You get to Earthquake next to it with Garchomp, which is really cool. A lot of them have opted for Analytic and Slower because it is a relatively bulky Pokemon if you ignore its debilitating weaknesses. But it actually does get sturdy, which means that it also you can just like tank and attack always, which is pretty nice as well. In Tailwind, it does actually outspeed stuff like Iron Bundle, assuming they're not Speed Booster, which they usually are. Flutter Mane, right? And it outgoes Flutter Mane with Flash Cannon. And so I think that this is we saw this do well at some of the South American events. I think Renzo said he wasn't revealing his team after cutting one of the special events, and then also cut the Santiago Regionals, with presumably the same team. We don't have teams from that. But yeah, so Magnezone low-key like popping up now. All of a sudden is like a part of the metagame.
Yeah, I'm loving it. It makes me think back to when we were running Magnezone in a Dynamax meta, and honestly, that was like, Gavin did well with it back in 2017, huh? Magnezone has not seen a lot of top performances across the years, though, despite being like an OU staple every time it's legal.
It's a regional deck staple, right? I mean, it's like a fringe regional deck staple. It was Gavin using it in 2017. We used it in 2020 in Players Cup 1. It was like in Raghavdit used it, and it kind of popped off there for a little bit, and then here we are back in the regional decks with Magnezone popping off. Just we don't have steel types, right? When you don't have a steel type, you gotta call Old Reliable.
We do have steel types. It's called Earthworm. And instead of being quadruple weak to ground, that one eats it up.
This one's also immune to ground. Look at it.
I'm looking at it, and it's just so perfect. Terra Flying is actually like really solid on it. Okay, so yeah, there's a very fun team. At the end of the day, it's just kind of like some Tailwind offense, and so just get the right mods for the job were found here, and Breloom, Magnezone filling in their niche roles, however you pronounce it.
Yeah, Breloom also like kind of cool. It's a Pokemon that I brought up in our top Discord server and got laughed at for bringing up. But so I'm really happy to see it do well. I was
I'd laugh.
proposing
Yeah.
a very different set, and Focus Sash is probably better on it because it does have no bulk. But Fast Spore is really good. We saw Brute Bonnet players try to make it fast, and you can't actually do that as effectively. Breloom is a little faster than that. Also, its Mach Punch is really good into the Iron Bundle Chi-Yu cores, into a lot of these type of Pokemon. And Bullet Seed is also really good coverage, and so especially in Tailwind with some speed investment, I think it actually is a pretty cool pick on these sort of Tusk Talon Garchomp teams. Yeah, I'm definitely. I think it's just a really cool choice as well. Just like priority in general, when your Tailwind expires and you have that priority option that hits really hard and hits a lot of the common Pokemon in the metagame really hard, is very cool to see. Also, grass coverage. We don't have grass types that do damage except for Brute Bonnet.
Right.
I don't know. I guess we do have grass types that do damage. Sorry. Austin, Nash, you got any thoughts on the teams from Turin or from this team in particular?
Yeah, to add some more Eastern point of view, so to say, um, like you guys would remember, like back in the 2017s, Magnezone were used in teams like you mentioned, Gavin Michaels have used it.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Gomez used it in Sheffield to, I believe like two of them used the same team, like Bulu, Magnezone, Araquanid, P2 and stuff.
Man, yeah, it's
Um,
just bringing me back. It sounds so spicy. I love it.
Yeah, I love the team so much. Like,
Mm-hmm.
back then, what I'm getting to is like what you remember probably is like we used to also use a different variant of Magnezone, and that is Magnipool. Like
Mm-hmm.
back in the times, we had like Cortana and Celesteela. We wanted to lock them in with Magnipool, and
Yep.
what I saw back in Global Challenge, Japanese players used in was that they used Magnezone that goes with Grass Tera to lock opposing Steel Tera Garchomp in. Like that was a sick tech. Like,
That is actually
um,
crazy.
yeah, like nowadays I believe it's more normal to see Fire Tera Garchomp, but like 2 months ago, Steel Tera Garchomp was really a thing, and Japanese players like locked them in with Magnapool Magnezone. It was kind of sick. And about Breloom, like there was actually a Korean guy who played in Trainers Cup, the Korean circuit, that went to like 6 win streak with Breloom.
Mm-hmm.
His team was like very weird, but he ended up going 6-4. Like he won 16, six in a row, and then he suddenly lost four in a row. Like he ended up losing, but it was a cool tech to see actually.
You know, Audie, playing around with the Top Cut Explorer here, if you click on, well, if you like just scroll down the list, you'll see that Breloom and Magazone were actually the only appearances in top like 128 total. Was just this one team that made it to top four. Um, and the other Pokemon you were talking about in top four, Tauros, Aqua. If you actually click on that one, um, you'll notice that it actually has 3 appearances, but it's all the same team. It's all the exact same 6. It looks like there must have been a team building group that said that we got the bull, water bull is going to solve it all, and one of them was able to make it all the way that deep in the tournament, top 4. Let's actually talk about that team a bit here. The set on the bull is Mirror Herb. Haven't really seen that since like series
Series
one. I think we
one.
saw that Fire Tauros like
Yeah,
a month or
Kamikasa
two
got
ago.
top 4 at Malmo with a Fire Taurus with Mirror.
Yeah, I guess if you're running Mirror of Tauros and nobody else is, or like one of you is going to make it the top 4. Somebody's going to do it if you're playing in Europe, but they're out of tournaments, so maybe not. Um, and yeah, we see also the Thunderbolt Goldengo. That's been kind of popping up every now and then. People are just saying, I don't need a Ghost Stab, I need electric coverage. And sure, a lot of Terra Water, a lot of I guess like water types, like Palafin and Bundle, I guess, and Dozo,
Mm-hmm.
and then and Gyarados. I forgot. Yeah, that's another one. I guess that kind of makes sense. I have not played with a Goldango in a minute, so I'm not sure what their priorities are. But
I mean, again, you can see this guy's Terra Water. A lot of Pokemon are defaulting to Terra Water. We see Terra Water Tinglu, Terra Water Chiyu, Terra Water Goldango, Terra Water. Randy had the team that has 6 Terra Water types. So they made day 2 at Portland, right? Like,
so this is Randy's fault.
yeah, this is all his fault. No, I'm just saying, like, Terra Water is a good defensive Terra type. It's maybe the best neutral defensive Terra type. And so Goldango obviously wants to make it rain as much as possible. This just allows it to hit the Pokemon that don't get affected by Make It Rain very hard. Also hits Corviknight, which is pretty cool. And Shadow Ball, obviously very good neutral damage, but most of the time one of Make It Rain or Thunderbolt is going to be hitting the Pokemon harder. And so it is pretty cool to see Thunderbolt with no Shadow Ball Goldango do very well. I don't know if that's a common thing. I guess Top Cut Explorer will tell me if it's a common thing.
That's actually true. Let's look at that, and then also let's move on because I'm realizing how long we've been going and the topics. So I'm looking at the rest of the top 8 teams. A Scizor made it. That's dope. We can maybe check that really quick. Let's see. It's a Citrus Berry, Quick Guard. Okay, yeah, I respect it. Yeah, wait, this set is actually nuts. Citrus Berry, Pull It, Faint, Pounce, Quick Guard. I mean, Pounce is just like a good move on Scizor now. It's kind of the main replacement for like Bug Bite. It's Technician boosted, but it lowers speed, which is like just kind of a fun thing to have on a Tailwind team. Extra speed control is always appreciated. And Quick Guard is a move that I've always been trying to find the way onto teams to stop those Chien-Pao D-Knights, but could never find the Pokemon to do it. Scizor, that's awesome. Yeah, and then the rest of these, we either talked about them or boring.
Braviary? There's a Braviary. I love Braviary. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. It's cool to see it.
Where did Braviary make it? Did it get to top 8 or
it's top 32?
Top 32.
It's an AV Braviary. This is not the way that I would run Braviary, but always cool to see it. Choice Band Tinglu next to it. Can't get intimidated, so that's pretty cool.
Okay, one last out.
All right.
Lele's team in top 32. That team is just crazy. Yeah, I just recommend anybody go looking at it. I just spend too much time talking about this because it's like, what the heck? Lele, what were you on? I mean, it made it to 10-4, which is an awesome finish, not all the way. Maybe it needs some improvements for the future, or maybe just got unlucky. But it's awesome. Like, what?
There's always that one Wo-Chen player that makes it to day 2.
Yeah. I mean, like, let's before we go, what's the numbers on that guy?
There are 3 Wo-Chen in top 128, and exactly one of them made day 2.
Okay. So let's go on to Milwaukee, right? I think that's
yeah.
the next thing.
So actually, Austin, I don't think you said a single word about Turin, so I do want to give you a chance to speak. I know we've been talking a lot, but did you have any thoughts about any of the Turin teams? Any standouts?
There's a lot of cool stuff. It mostly just kind of makes me sad that like Series 1 didn't last longer.
So true.
Yeah, because it feels like that would have been the perfect opportunity for like these Mons like Aqua and like Fire Breed Tauros seem like they're really solid, and like, but it's hard to explore that when you're trying to figure out the Paradox and the Ruins, which like on paper are just like objectively stronger than you want to figure out faster. But I don't know, it would have been cool to see like all the new stuff that they added, like get more chances to shine. And it's cool that these guys are figuring out, because I'm definitely not good enough of a team builder to experiment with that.
Taking that risk is so like you said, the power level of Ruins and Paradox have just gone up, and Tauros is a really solid regional dex Pokemon. So whereas like, I know it's still a regional dex, but I've been saying for months now like that it doesn't feel like a regional dex with these crazy Pokemon. Yeah. That is a good take. I would bring back Series 1. Okay. So we have Adi's sheet here. I'm looking at it now. It doesn't have pretty pictures. Sorry, and I don't think it's gonna have pretty pictures in the. Oh no, did I get rid of that? Where'd it go? Where did the Arcanine go? Did I do that?
I hid that. Sorry. You want that? I can keep it. I was hiding the columns that didn't need to be there so that we can look at the 6 Pokemon on the screen.
I know, but this gives us the moveset info, right?
It does give you the moveset info. It's also in the Pokemon 1 through 6 raw, but maybe you don't want to parse that because that's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not gonna click on Brian Hume's team. I clicked it, but I actually wanted to back out of that immediately. Brian Hume won with new balance, as I like to call it, and maybe other people like to call it too. That Fire, Water, Grass, but it uses Gyarados, Chiyu, and Amoonguss, Fluttermane, Tinglu, and Iron Hands. You saw it on stream. You've seen it before. You're gonna see it again. It's still here. Yeah, and like we can already let's just like knock out Paul Chua using the same thing. Justin Tang, same thing. They're gone.
I think they actually built together, which is kind of weird because it's a standard team and everyone's seen it. Because but they did actually.
I don't know if Paul.
I think Brian was tweeting that was like, yeah, 3 people in their building group made it to top 8. I don't know if that was Paul or if Paul was using the same team or what. Like maybe like
Paul did have different sets, so
it was 4 people in the Discord for that team builder group got top 8, and that was Brian, Paul, I think Tang, and me, because I am technically in that Discord despite probably saying like 6 things total.
Okay. All right, yeah. So shout outs to like at least 6 top cuts here from the players in the Players Cup 1 Discord group. Love those guys. Actually 6 is probably too much. It's probably like closer to like 4 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Tang and
Austin, did you play Players Cup 1?
I did play in Players Cup 1, yes.
All right, yeah. I was in there. Tang definitely not in there. Paul was in there.
Play at the time.
Probably in there.
I don't know about Zisha because Rushil was not playing at the time, and Justin Tang was not playing at the time, and Brian Young might not have been playing at the time either. So honestly, it might be like fewer.
Maybe 4. I'm that's gonna be my tweet after my next cut. Shout outs to everyone in the Players Cup 1 Discord. Okay. So let's talk about the cool teams. Also, we don't get to talk about Austin team because you also doubled up, Austin. I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
Sorry.
Wow.
You
team stole it from James Evans.
Yeah, I didn't realize you and James had the same 6. I actually even when we made it all the way to the top 8, I was not doing like intense scouting or anything. So I was just like, if I play him, I'm just gonna sit across from him and find out what his team is.
2 quick stories about that team though. One is that like when they posted top 8. Like, I went to go look at the board, and Cheppel was standing, like, right next to me, and he just goes, "Does anyone know what Austin was using?" And I was like, "I'm Austin, let me tell you."
No, you don't tell him. Why would you tell him?
He wasn't in top 8, it didn't matter.
It's like, it doesn't matter, because it's like open team sheet. Yeah, you give him, like, the extra time to think about things, but I don't know, man. I was sitting next to Justin Tang, and I just wanted to show him, like, hey, this is what I'm using. Like, this was in day 1, I'm just like... You could have the extra thinking time. I don't care. I just want to flex this.
And then the other thing was I used the team, like, one, because I thought it was cool and I really wanted to try it. But, like, me and Audie were at game night, like, the week before. And I was like, I don't know. I really just want to get my invite. Like, maybe I'll just play it safe and use Dozo. And Audie was like, Dozo just, like, lets bad players be good. And I was like, I don't want to be a bad player who's just accidentally being good. So like, I didn't say that to Audie at the time, but I was like, okay, I'm not going to use Dozo. I'm going to try to use something else.
So like,
I think I phrased it more.
No, you looked at me and you were like, "You're trash because you used Dozo," and I was like, "Okay, buddy."
I have a tweet sitting in the drafts that I'm just waiting for the right time to send out, like because when Dozo is like topical right now, everybody just wants to talk about Regulation D. But I think my Dozo take is that nobody plays Dozo for fun. They play it just because they want to win. And it is just so boring for both the player, the person against it. Dozo mirrors, like you literally can't switch out. You play Dozo because you want that competitive edge. It's strong. It's definitely viable. It's so boring. And the most interesting thing is the stupid game of chicken. Is it gonna be switching Tatsugiri in now? No? Yes? No? Yes? It's just stupid.
There was an AV Dozo in day 2 that had Fissure, and like one of my friends played in there. Like, I think his battle plan is just like spam Fissure and never die. And I was like, dang.
Awesome. I love it.
Alex, I can't believe you'd imply that Dozo is not a high skill team. You really have to make one decision really precisely, okay?
Now.
Okay. Hey, we got Rushil in chat. Rushil, congrats on you also made the top 8 as the resident Dozo player.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Rushil. I was driving Roshan to the airport, and he was like, "Dude, Rushil's like, he's like that Rushil guy. Like, I wanna add him to Team India. I wanna make sure that like, I get him in there." And then he's like, "What is his like handle?" And I was like, "Here, like you can find it here." And he looks it up, and he's like, Oh, Conkle Duck? He's already in there. Yeah, that was amusing.
It is really
Anyway.
cool. It is really cool to see. Okay, I will say Dozo incredibly boring to play against, incredibly boring to play yourself. Very very interesting to team build because it is my take is that it is just a team building, like a thought experiment. Basically, you like exchange team sheets and then you decide
Auto
who
chess.
wins. Yeah,
chess.
and so, but that being said, because of that, it does mean that you do get to make a meta call really aggressively, and it is cool to see us kind of circle back. We saw Palmot, like Chapo was using that all the way back in San Diego as the go-to Dozo team in Series 1. And now we've circled all the way back to a Dozo team that would have been legal in Series 1. Maybe, honestly, like the most refined version of Dozo in Series 1 is something like this because we didn't really figure out Glamora at the time, or Emilio figured out Glamora independently from, from our group, from Chuppa figuring out Palmot, and this is a really cool take on Dozo that would have absolutely murdered the Series 1 metagame and is apparently still very good in Regulation C.
Yeah, I respect the Palmot. That's awesome. Like, Revival Blessing, such a cool move that doesn't get... I don't know, just doesn't feel like somehow it just can't keep up, mainly because it's on either Rabska, Unviable, or Palmot, which is outsped by, like, every Paradox Pokemon. Cool, love that. Yeah, otherwise, really cool team, though. And... yeah, let's see. We didn't talk about James's team because he's kind of just been running that. And Austin, how did you actually come to the team, to selecting it? Have you like worked with James? Did you rip it? I actually don't know at all.
No, I've actually, I think I talked to James the most I've ever talked to in my life this weekend, where I walked by him and said, "Hey, congratulations on cutting."
That's the conversation. Yep.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I was just like looking for something to use. I like Garchomp a lot. Like I said, Audie called me trash, so I had to prove him that I wasn't.
I called him trash, and then he brought this team to a local, and I beat him with the Dunsparce, so I wasn't wrong.
Okay, let's go.
Maybe I am trash. Okay. I was like looking at a bunch of. I saw like all the different Tailwind Chomps stuff that did well, and I was like trying Tailwind Tusk and like all the different versions. And this was the one that I just kind of landed on and like ended up getting really comfortable with. And it's a really good team. Like I don't know. I'm glad that like I played it and I played like some best of threes before because I think what it like looks like on paper is like, oh, Tailwind Earthquake, Tailwind Make It Rain, but like I don't think I ever did that like the entire tournament. Like it's a lot more flexible. You can position it a lot better. It feels really good to use. It's a really strong team.
It's got good options to finesse with the Iron Hands, the Trick. There are some really cool ways to make them play your game.
My team differs from James in the sense. Well, I know that like our EV spreads are definitely really different, but I have Volt Switch on my Iron Hands, just because I didn't think Heavy Slam was like that worth it. I like repositioning a lot more, and like Wild Charge with any amount of chip on the Flutter Mane or like with Chinpo on the field is just going to pick up the KO anyway. So I was like, yeah, I'd rather just like switch things around and Volt Switch around, which I think works better for me. And then I wasn't clicking Thunderbolt at all with Specs Goldango, so I switched into Power Gym, and then I wasn't clicking Power Gym at all. And then Audie and I talked, and I was like, I might have been able to win if I was Trick Nasty Plot, and I was like, yeah, I'll try Trick Nasty Plot. I think it came up twice. Honestly, before this, I was like, maybe I should have been Trick Protect, so I could have like actually protected after I tricked, and then you guys mentioned it, I was like, yeah, maybe I actually will try that.
Yep. I think that's solid, and yeah, otherwise, just a solid team that we saw make it all the way to the finals. So, yeah, congrats
Also,
to you, and congrats to James as well.
The Mons are all nicknamed, with the exception of the Iron Bundle, after pancake specials you can get at my restaurant that I work at, Kirby Lane.
Oh, that's awesome!
That's awesome, actually.
Yeah,
This is so fun. Okay. I think. We didn't talk about Z-Show's team a ton, but it's I think the same team that he got finals. Did he win or get finals?
He got second. He got second at Portland.
Yeah, Portland, and I think it's the same 6. So not much else to add on that one. And it might be all of the teams in top 8, and I don't know if I want to go much further without us having the data in convenient form. I mean, if there's like a really hype one, like. We could mention it, but
I'm always interested in what Gary Chan runs. He He's one of the most creative team builders out there, and he had Dreadnought, Indeedee, Crocodile, Armorug, Pelipper, Amoonguss. So I gotta highlight that team.
It's weak armor Rouge too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Spicy.
That's a really sick team.
There's a Magnezone. I just realized another Magnezone in 18th here.
Oh, wait, I want to see that. Giovanni Ara Arn I don't. I'm not gonna pronounce that.
A rugby bar?
Yeah, sure. There is a Magnezone. It's the. I think it's so stupid that they still don't have the pictures of the Pokemon in Arcanine. It's so silly. It's been like 6 months, guys. Come on. Anyways, yeah. What's this Magnezone? This is Citrus Analytics, so this is kind of what I expected to see more of. I think this is what this might have actually been the exact team that Renzo was using. I forget. I know we pulled it up last time. The Peruvian team that did work, but I don't know if this is exactly it or not. I feel like it is. I don't know. Anyways, cool to see a Magnezone. Scrolling through, Nash, Austin, any teams to stand out for you guys in day 2?
I mean, like, it was. I mostly just experienced like through like actually the stuff that I played, and it was all just kind of what I was expecting. It felt like it was very much like I mean, New Balance is such a good nickname for that team because it's like it's straight up just replacing Balance right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what my experience with it was, and I didn't really see anything like super noticeable.
How many Palance teams were there in day?
I didn't see a single Palafin my entire run.
Well, I didn't play Chen Pao until I played James Evans in top 4.
Mm-hmm.
So there was the Palafin that was on the Magnezone team. That's the only one I've seen so far.
Right.
Somebody mentioned the Mouse Ape team that Nails and Zach used, which Nails unfortunately bubbled top 16.
So Nails had this 3 match going into the last round of Swiss, and got maybe the most unlucky I've ever seen anyone get in Pokemon to lose that game. It was pretty brutal. Austin, you're not allowed to pretend like you feel sad about that. You made cut because of it.
It's still a bummer. I just wanted my invite. I was perfectly happy, like being top 16 and then going home to eat. But yeah, I mean, like I'm not gonna say no to the extra money and the extra points and the clouds.
Also, a 12th place team I see here is kind of worth noting. It has Lycanroc, like sand stuff, but there's like Sand Veil, Garchomp. It's kind of scary to see that.
Yeah.
There was
I think that Len was using this is a Len Duel. He's a very, very old school player. And I think he's top cut events going back to like 2012. And then every time he gets to use his stupid bulky Tyranitar, he uses it. And he top cut like US or North American Internats in 2018 with this same similar core. And here he is again, just farming these kids with this bulky T-Tar and Lycanroc. So I think he also got top 8 at Portland Regionals with this, but it's cool to see him back into form.
Right.
So one thing I am curious about, Nash, you've looked through a few of the teams from these North American events. Obviously, we've been highlighting some of the wackier teams and not the more standard boring teams. But I'm curious about your perception of how the metagame differs from maybe Korea versus North America, and maybe any Pokemon that we're not using, that we're not fully utilizing, that maybe we should be looking into.
Those standard teams, Palafin standard teams, and new standard teams that starts with like Iron Hands. These are not like very preferred over here in Eastern scene, like probably because we don't go with open team sheet, right? Like in closed team sheet, Palafin doesn't have like that of a presence in Russian scene, and but players definitely like skilled enough decides to use it. But over here, like what we see more is like one of those like ice spams that goes with
Hail, yeah,
bundle.
blizzard,
Yeah.
snow, whatever. Yeah.
Yep. Those stuff, and in Eastern scene we mostly see like more of Chiyu, I'd say. Um, like for West in turn, like we started seeing Chiyu in Western scene like very recently, right? Like Chiyu wasn't very preferred until UIC, as I see it. Um, and people started using it a lot after that until the new core kind of came in. But in Eastern scene, oh, like we already have to go for best of ones closed team sheet. So beat it. Like we're gonna use random terrestrializing, gimmicky Chiyus, um, also it's like scarfed. So that's kind
Yep.
of the difference I see.
That
Yeah.
definitely makes sense. Yeah, just like I mean the rules of the game are definitely going to impact the type of teams that you lock in. You know, the structures of the tournament,
Right.
and so that makes sense that there's such a big difference. I realize that we're like already at the 2 hour mark, and so I'm gonna try to keep it moving along. I'll first stop playing hard to get and say, Adi, we didn't talk about my team. God damn it! If we could do this
Okay.
on
Fuck.
it's because Adi wants me to do a team report, and I don't know if I'm gonna do one, and so he's just like, you know what, we're not gonna talk about it because we're saving it for the team report.
I figured that I didn't even ask about the team before. I figured you're saving this for nationals, but yeah, we can talk. Wait, what are these nicknames? These are not the nicknames we talked about.
Wait, what were the nicknames we talked about?
We were talking about Dominion nicknames,
Oh yeah, I just couldn't come up with a good one. We've been playing a lot of
then-
Dominion. It's a good time.
and then I said that you should be using Dune nicknames because Orthorm is like a character from Dune, basically. And you didn't do those either.
I feel like you told me that like on
Shy
Friday or
Lude?
something. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah, I
way
did tell you a little late, but
I also not that into Doom. I watched it. It was like all right.
It's like the longest prologue ever.
It's coming up
So
this like later this year, right?
oh, is the next one?
Yeah, the
Yep.
next one. I'm really excited for the next one because I want to see like the actual story. But
Yeah, where is it actually going? The
Yeah,
League
yeah.
of Done.
okay. I
Uh,
think that I'm just gonna get the books. Honestly, at some point I just have to read the books because it's right up my alley, and the movies are supposed to be
You
kind of.
see, it's right here. That's Dune.
That's
All
Dune.
those, yeah,
Oh.
all those are Dune.
Sweet, yeah. So and
Oh, nice. That's sick.
That's so sick.
yeah, I got read
Okay.
those.
The team is. I gotta keep us on track here. Fluttermane standard. Tinglu is standard for the team. A Dragonite standard. Orthworm. I opted for Protect over Iron Defense. And then yeah, the it has Iron Hands and Goth, which like aren't running sets that like totally surprise you, but they're Pokemon that aren't often found on the archetype. And I actually had a lot of fun with that. Iron Hands was a decent recipient of a Shed Tail. It could, fake out to support something else, or it could Sword Stance. Goth Hands is kind of its own mode with, Sword Stance, fake out Heal Pulse, or fake out Trick Room, or and they just kind of like you could also go like Goth Worm and do some fun stuff with that. Shed Tailing into the Pokemon that is best into the two Pokemon that you've trapped in. If they opt to go into have a Fluttermane across from your Goth Orthworm because they're worried about getting trapped in, well, Heavy Slam. That's pretty much the basics of it, and it was just very fun to play, very my style. And yeah, one person asked, how do you feel about no Iron Defense on Worm? It was very rarely getting clicked. It was like situationally good into like random board states, but kind of didn't come up often. And I didn't click Protect a lot, except into the Dondozo matchups, because they would often lead Chi-Yu and Bundle and just try to KO the Worm right away. And I like to force that uncertainty into them so that they couldn't just double it for free. Protect made them, think about their targeting a bit more, and I enjoyed that. But yeah, otherwise I think it's a cool Worm team. It would have been really fun to take it all the way and get 3 wins for Worm on the weekend. But anyways.
I talked about this very briefly last time, but because I knew that you were bringing this team, but I think that what this does that very few other Worm teams does is it gives you a second mode. Worm teams, especially like if you look at the way that like Desto's team is built, it's very linear. It doesn't have a ton of things it can do. It can really it can either do Tinglu Dragonite or it can do Tinglu Worm, and it doesn't have like a third thing. This team has so much more flexibility because of the Gothitelle. It just lets you play without your Worm, without Ting Lu entirely. I think that's a really cool approach to it. So, yeah, it just gives you mix-up options. Doesn't let people hone in on, I just got to beat Ting Lu. Ting Lu is like the center point of the team. Is the mod number 1 that you're leading every time. Now you have a lot more options.
Mm-hmm. Gone to Flavortown also mentions that they were the one that ran no Shedtail Orcworm. I remember Paul told me about that, and I was like, "What? That's nuts!" And honestly, I don't know how well you did in the tournament, whether and how hard you stand by it. I think you're crazy. That's no way. It is a very strong Pokemon, like Heavy Slam and Body Press with a Steel typing and a Ground immunity is just good into the meta right now. But I don't think it's so good that I wouldn't use Shedtail, which is just a very powerful move. But props to you for deciding that you could. That's really cool.
By the way,
okay.
If you want a number, there were 4 Palafin in day 2 and 68 out of the 600 odd players who attended, 500 odd players that attended. But that's not a good conversion rate. That is not good.
Wait, does this thing? How many Orthworms are there? It says there's 27, but is that true?
Yeah, should be.
Because that's like the whole event, right? Because normally we look at the limit.
27 Orthworms made day 2.
No. This is the whole event.
This is the whole event. This is every single team sheet from every single.
Oh, you were making. Oh, sorry,
but like
I
you
missed
can.
the joke. I missed the joke.
Yeah.
All right,
But you can scroll down, and I believe there were only 2 Earthworms in day 2. You and Jared Hun, who had a Grimmsnarl and DD Earthworm team. Is this the person who's using? This looks like a no Shedtail team. Yeah, this is the no Shedtail guy. He made day 2.
Cool.
He got top 32.
Nice.
Wait, did he make day 2?
Yeah, Jared Hun.
Oh, this is 28th.
Oh, man, never mind. Apparently, there is a separate no Shedtail Earthworm that made top 32. And they said
that's crazy.
They said 50.
Are they running the
53rd.
same team as you? What the heck? What is happening here? You guys aren't allowed to do that. Nobody said you were allowed to do this. To be fair, Iron Defense Body Press is just a strong strategy.
Oh wait, no, 53rd does have a.
But it makes sense.
This 51st. Never mind. There's one on 53rd too. Okay.
All right, we're getting lost. We're getting lost.
To drop it on like your variants of it because like it doesn't have a consistent way to heal itself. It's not like leftovers. It can't like protect stall to like do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It just seems like really specific niche scenarios you'd be even able to like Iron Defense up and try and stall things out.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool decision. Okay, sorry.
All right,
I'm getting distracted. I love looking at
you're
teams,
good.
dude.
We'll be talking about Worm more next week because I think it's going to be sweeping the nation. It's going to be on every team after this point. So
it's true. Catch me running Iron Defense Body Press Worm.
And so with that, we're going to see another dub for Worm this coming weekend at Fresno. Let's talk about Fresno upcoming, and let's run through this one quick. Fresno's been the inevitable one. I know a lot of people weren't excited to go to this one because of like the location. It's kind of hard to get to. I can't remember exactly how many people are signed up. Adi, actually, you were the one that's supposed to come through with that number.
I'm attending this regional, so I do actually have the number for that. 319 players who are registered for Fresno Regionals. That is, first off, that is a dangerous number because that includes some number of juniors and seniors. Honestly, probably like 10. Like probably like under 20 juniors and seniors going to Fresno. But like, it's people. I think there's some number of people who probably like entered Fresno Regionals and were like, I need to go to this regional if I do poorly at other regionals, and then now they're like, I've got my Worlds invite, like Austin. And then maybe you're just like, I'm not actually going to fly to Fresno because I don't want to spend my weekend in Fresno.
That's crazy.
I thought that it might also be the opposite, that people will last minute book Fresno, but I haven't seen an uptick in registrations that way because it is really hard to get to. For context, for those who aren't familiar with American geography, and I guess Nash for you too, the Fresno is like right in between. It's like in between San Francisco and Los Angeles, except then also go like drive an hour east on top of that. It is like truly in the middle of nowhere, California, and it is pretty close to like Yosemite National Park, which is a really famous park. But even that is like an hour and a half away. And so you can see that for what I'm doing, is I am flying to Los Angeles and driving up 3.5 hours to Fresno. I know other people flying to San Francisco and driving. Fresno Airport, not super accessible. And as a result, it is probably the lowest attendance regional, other than maybe Vancouver this year.
Isn't the rumor that they wanted to do it in Vegas, but they couldn't get Vegas or not, or Nevada or something like that, and they couldn't get it, so they just had to move it to Fresno?
That is what I've heard.
That is the rumor I heard. And
They moved it to Austin.
they should have moved it to Austin. We didn't have.
Can you imagine?
It would have been great. We didn't have a Texas regional. We didn't have a single regional within driving distance from Texas. It's really sad.
No Dallas. Where's the Dallas at?
It was in December before we had before we could start playing. It's really sad.
Yeah. Maybe this fall gonna be crazy.
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun.
I guess winter. Okay, so with that though, I don't know if there's actually anything else to talk more in the preview article. Let's talk about a bit of the history. We've got 3 events to run through here really quick. We're just gonna talk about some of the players and maybe the concept of the teams, but nothing deep. First off, let's start off with the oldest one. 2016, won by Gavin over in Osh. I've seen this one before.
This is for context. This is one of the first events. I think this is the second event of the 2017 format, and the first event being EUIC, which is one of the internets, right? And so that was a really hype tournament. Of course, we talk about Magnezone and how it's gonna win its second NorCal regional this weekend. But one of the cool story about this is that if you look back at that European Championship, no one was using Tapu Fini. It was on one team in top 64.
Everybody thought this mod was very bad.
Everyone thought it was awful. And in Nosh, being a genius,
someone with a brain,
very, very creative player, realized this mod is actually cracked, and was the first person to really use Tapu Fini to a lot of success. Again, you can see zero Tapu Fini.
Don't ask about the set. I think it was sub leftovers Calm Mind. It was a little out there, but yeah. And then Gavin won with the Dope Hard Trick Room. Let's see some of the other names that you might expect to see there. Gary, we just talked about earlier. Aaron Zhang possibly competing. I could see it. I think he's close to a Worlds invite. Not sure if he's going for that or not. Alberto, California, hometown.
Is that's a +1 at the 16th?
I believe that's a +1. Next up we have San Jose.
Why doesn't this one have top 16? Aw.
San Jose into what? Oh, are you here?
I was here. I got a story.
Was it a top 16 cut? Was it a top 16 cut?
No, but neither was San Jose 2016.
Wait, wasn't it not?
I don't think it was.
Look at the numbers.
It was 244 players. Yeah, it was not.
Interesting.
I don't think.
Well, they probably just didn't want to put you on the website.
That's probably it. So this was
post you had a story from this one, Audi?
Yeah, so this was post Worlds 2017. That was when I started playing. This was my 3rd regional ever. I was conveniently doing consulting in Los Angeles, and so it was a hop, skip, and a jump away. And so post Worlds usually not as high attendance. This is actually really good attendance for a regional. And 3rd regional ever, and I am popping off. I am X1 going into the last round. I just beaten Alberto Lara to get to this position, and this was when Alberto Lara was on his hot streak. He had cut 4 straight regionals, and I knocked him out of top cut contention, and was just feeling really good about myself. In the last round, I get a pair down, and so I'm looking at it yo, I'm getting a pair down into the last round of regional. If I win, I top cut my 3rd regional ever. This is so hype, and I play the biggest idiot ever. I make one of the hardest throws I've ever made. For context, I had a Gyarados. It was EV to outspeed Tapu Koko at +1 speed, as one does with your Gyarados, when you're dragging this Gyarados. And I am facing a Mimikyu, and I'm just going to nuke this nuke this Mimikyu by clicking Dazzling Gleam to break its disguise, and then Z flying to kill it, completely forgetting that I EV'd my Gyarados to outspeed Tapu Koko at +1, and just clicking Z flying into this Mimikyu to break its disguise instead, and just
beautiful,
immediately losing my first ever win-in, first of many win-in losses. But this is maybe the game that I regret the most. It's the one that I still think about because it's the biggest brain fart I've made, maybe ever. And as a result of this, what you can't see here is that Jira, who actually won this event, he was the 8th seed. because I lost the pair down, one extra X2 made it into top cut, and that was Girowatt.
Oh wow.
And so as a result, he would have gotten ninth if I had won that game, and instead he got top 8 and won the regional, to the bane of every single Australian player, because at the time they were in the same circuit, and he was chasing a day 2 invite in Oceania despite living in California. And so he was not well liked among Australians, and I kind of enabled him by losing that win in. And Australians are not happy when I tell that story. That's my
I don't know if I don't know if Giro's actually going to be attending this one. I don't know if he still is playing. I also don't know if Emilio is going to be playing or not. Emilio sometimes just takes breaks, but Emilio the GOAT is a Californian player and could definitely take this event if he shows up. It's just whether he shows up, if he decides to show up or not.
I don't think Renee's showing up either.
Yeah.
Who's Matthew Greaves? I definitely know that name.
That's Picklesword, I believe.
Is that Picklesword?
I think so.
That's the most normal Picklesword team I've ever seen.
Yeah, you should see the sets. I'm pretty sure the sets were not normal.
Curry
Patrick Smith, I don't know.
Patrick doesn't play anymore. Mitchell.
Funnily enough, Pandelis, Sam Pandelis. I don't know if Sam is flying all the way over to the U.S. for this one, but you do see Sam here in the 8th spot.
Yeah,
let's quickly run through Santa Clara.
Santa Clara, yeah. So Santa Clara 2019. Again, this regional, San Jose was 2017 and the 2018, despite being 2016 and 2017. This one in the 2019 season in Ultra Series, won by Ashton Cox using a Parrish trap team. I believe this was Parrish on Zerndon, right? And then Jeremy running the same team as well, getting top 4. Renee once again popping up in top 4, flying out for this one. He does live in Guatemala. We see Justin Burns in second, using Ray Ogre, and we see some interesting choices out here in the rest of top 8. We see a Lopunny, we see an Empoleon from Bingji. This I think Bingji's first top cut, right? No.
We can't talk about the team too much because they don't have the format context. Most people that are watching this.
That's true. Believe it or not, Lopunny and Empoleon were not common picks at the time. This is actually not Bingji's first top cut. He top cut Moon Series Toronto. That was his first ever regional. He top cut that one, and then he cut this, and he started popping off. But
so of this list, I can't say for certain if any of these players are attending or not. Maybe Ashton.
I don't think Ashton's showing up. Justin's not going. Jeremy's in China right now. Renee's probably not going. Nate lives in Portland. And I think he only attended Portland. I don't know.
So maybe
I don't think
anyone. The most recent North Cal event.
Will loves tweeting about how his life is so much better because he doesn't play Pokemon anymore. So I don't know. Yeah.
With that, let's go on to picking who we think might actually win this thing.
Did we talk about the meme? I think this meme is fantastic.
You're supposed to have the meme on screen when we open up or whatever.
I think it's really good.
Yeah. I think the meme's fun. Shoutouts to Gavin for helping me come up with the concept, and so other top members for helping me fill out this. But yeah, top 4 places, or not top 4. It's the difficulty is 4 places you'd rather be out of be than Fresno out of 5. To explain it, of course, it's the dentist, quicksand, jury duty, and traffic. And yeah, it's I thought it was a good one when we finally got around to it.
You know what's funny? I'm looking at this photo. And it's a photo of the 405 to Sacramento, which might just be the highway that leads from Fresno to Sacramento.
I actually did not know that. That would be incredible if
it might not be
on the way.
But it'd be funny because that is actually a photo of someone leaving Fresno. It might not be true. I'm not sure about that. But
okay, so for Smart Money, let's go ahead and start it off. Adi's hosting. He gets to go last. Nash, why don't we have you start us off with your Smart Money for Fresno?
Okay, so do I pick a player?
Yeah, you pick a player that you believe is attending. Hopefully it's somebody that you know is attending, but if you don't know, just pick somebody that you think has a shot, or you think is attending.
Yeah, I already heard that Ashton is not competing, but my initial thoughts were either Ashton or Brendan Zhang.
Oh, Brendan Zhang, okay.
Because the reasoning behind it is because they both used Paraffin Core in recent regionals. And I know that Paraffin has been dropping in recent days, but with Orthorn popping up Palafin with Fairy Tara Tinglu can easily go against Orthworm. It's actually a tech that Meluka used in MPA finals.
Hmm.
And if you think about it, like if you lead with slow Tinglu and terrestrializes it immediately, just clicking Ruination on Orthon side, uh, you don't have like real answer to it. Like anyway, like there's not optimal answer to it. So I'm thinking that going with strong Palfin core, um, that is good against Orthorn will be worth it, and that was why I picked him.
Okay. Okay. Brendan Zhang, gonna take it all. Yeah, I honestly I played Brendan, but I never actually got the chance to ask him if he was going to Fresno or not. I know that he's still points shy of an invite, so I know he's trying to get it. And if he doesn't want to leave it down to just NAIC, he might be going to this one. So I think this is a good shot. Austin, let's throw it to you. Who is your smart money?
I'm putting my smart money on Audie, and you may be saying that's because Audie's the only person you know that's going to Fresno. And to that, I'd say no, it's because we're friends, and I believe it.
But he called you a bad player though.
Yeah, well, we do that sometimes. I call him a bad player. He in his Top Cut interview says that I'm a bad friend. That's just our dynamic.
He goes and proves you wrong, huh? You gotta have some adversity.
I gotta
right?
say, the fact that the fact that I beat you at the Dunsparce is so funny, because literally the entire time I was thinking if you just click specs and make it rain, I just lose. And every single game you click to trick turn 1, and so I really hope that game taught you a lesson.
It did, honestly, it did. I made a lot more like offensive aggressive calls that tournament that like worked out. Because I didn't do it with you, and I was like, I feel like something could go wrong if I just click specs to make it rain, and I was like, nope, I would have been fine. And I like thought about that game that whole night, and I was like, man, I lost to Dunsparce Squawkabilly, and I was like, what would have gone wrong if he like worst case scenario? And then like during that tournament, I was like, I'm just clicking it. Here we go. Oh, wait, can I tell this story real quick? I led really badly into New Balance. Like, I led Iron Hands Goldango, and they led Fluttermane Chi-Yu, and I was already down a game. It was game 2. And I was like, oh, man, I just lost. This really sucks. All right, I guess I'll just Volt Switch and make it rain and see what happens. And because they were Terra Ghost, and I couldn't fake out the Chi-Yu. And they Terra Ghost like I thought they would, but they were slower than me. So I was like, oh, my God. So I killed the Fluttermane and did like mad damage to the Chi-Yu, and I was like, this is awesome.
Sometimes you just gotta click. Things will work out.
Yeah.
That's the lesson.
So thank you, Audie, for teaching me that.
All right, I guess it's me before Audie, so I'll go ahead and throw it to Justin Tang, who I do believe is attending.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. From what I heard. And so yeah, Justin Tang is not a player who messes up often, and I think was very close to winning it again this weekend. And just like, New Balance won the tournament. He was playing New Balance. It's a team that's shown its strength. I don't think that things are going to drastically change. If people knew New Balance was the play going into this tournament, and it still took the whole thing. Yeah, Justin Tang is just going to be the best New Balance player in California that weekend, and is going to win it all.
Fair enough. That's kind of crazy.
What do you got?
I thought I was here like I've got 3. I've got the smart picks, and then I've got like the fun picks. We were joking that Gavin and Emilio were just gonna be the first 2 off the board because they're maybe the 2 best players from California, and they didn't get picked. So I got the smart money picks, but I've also got the player that I really believe in, player who I think is due for a result. It's been popping off. It was popping off so consistently. I think it's too good a player too. Consistently been bubbling day 2, and I think that if he makes day 2, they're gonna do really well. It's Raghav. I think Raghav Malavia is going to win this tournament, and put himself back in the day 2 race.
Let's go, Raghav. Big Raghav fan here.
If you did, okay, I will say if you had to put odds on who is winning, I think Gavin is number 1. I just think Gavin is like the most likely player to win. But in my heart, I believe Raghav.
That's only because it's in his time zone.
That's true. Yeah, no, he is the California player. He's won more California regionals than, actually, I'm not sure that's true. won more California regionals than any other player, but he's won 2 of them. So I feel like if you told me that like Bravarius had won 6 California regionals back in 2011, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds right. You could tell me you could tell me Bravarius did anything, and I'd be like, yeah, that sounds right.
Adi, do we still play the Calc is right?
Yeah, why not?
All right. As long as Austin Nash, we're 30 minutes past time. Are you guys still good for it?
I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you guys prisoner on the show that never ends. And so, since you guys agreed for more time, let's talk about Regulation D. We're gonna squeeze it in here. We're gonna give everybody's like 1 to 2 minute take on it. No, that's actually a lot of time. 1 minute take basically on Regulation D. Adi, if you want to pull up the link of Pokemon that are being added. It's funny. Justin Burns was like, "This is when Regulation C was announced on the hour. It's going to be happening right now. Guys, get ready. Regulation D is coming." And sure enough, Justin was off by like 20 minutes. I think they just were late in announcing it. And yeah, Regulation D comes out, and it's Pokemon Home, as a lot of people might have been expecting. There was like rumors going around all kinds. Burn, please don't attack the mic. Go ahead,
I was gonna say, yeah, we did do a stream on Wednesday when it came out about this, and you can find that on my YouTube channel, which I haven't linked yet, so I gotta link it in the chat. But I did upload that one as well. So if you want to see some of Alex's takes, some of my takes, whatnot, you can go over there. You can watch that. We did like talk about it for 2 hours. Gavin was on there, Jody was on there, sort of. But yeah. So I did pull up Z's tier list. Z was also on there. Initial day 0 tier list on day -30 tier list on Regulation C. It's missing a couple Pokemon, but these are most of the notable Pokemon that were added. All right, I'm gonna ask really quickly, Nash, give me one Pokemon that you are most excited to play with in Regulation D.
I would normally go for Luna, but it's like 2 common picks, so I'll go for Regidrago.
Yeah, let's go. Worth mentioning about Regidrago and Regieleki is that Regieleki apparently caught a nerf, transistor down to 1.3 from 1.5. However, Regidrago, Zamazenta got hit by the Zacian nerf, where their abilities only activate once on switching. Regidrago somehow dodged this one, whether due to error or balancing reasons. Regidrago still has 1.5 times on its dragon moves. Vern, don't knock that off. Okay. I do have just Vern on the camera here.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
and also, notably, usually a problem for Eleki and Drago is that they don't have coverage moves, right? And so now, all of a sudden, Dragon, not the best defensive typing. Actually, that's not even true. It's pretty good defensive typing, but it's weak to Fairy. Now you can just Terrasilize, and you're not weak to Fairy anymore. And you can Terra Blast, and you have a brand new secondary typing, along with Earth Power, which apparently just gets as well. And so it actually has, pretty decent typing, all things considered. If you Terra Steel, you have Dragon, which hits everything, Steel, which hits Fairies, Ground, which hits Steel types, and that's just perfect coverage.
Yeah, that's super lit.
Also, why I chose this was because of Chiyu. I've been seeing some matches in Showdown tournaments. Chiyu plus Regidrago was absolutely a beast. You don't go against it. You don't want to let it.
Teams.
Yep.
That is a good pick. Austin, what's your hype mon for Regidrago for Regulation?
Regulation Drago.
Reggie D. It actually is right there. Wow, made for this mon. Austin, what's your pick that's not Ursaluna?
I don't think that it's going to be good in any way, but I am excited about Hisui and Arcanine.
No, that's mine.
Sorry.
Go for it.
I mean, Arcanine's one of my favorite Pokemon, and the idea of Rockhead Head Smash is just so sick to me. I don't think that maybe one person will figure out a way to work, and it's just I don't know. I just want to click Rockhead Head Smash into something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm so into it. And it has Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, Extreme Speed, Close Combat. The Mon's got moves.
Yeah, it's got a solid attack stat too. Slap a Choice Band on that.
I think it would. I think it actually could perform Arcanine's role in the current format, with Intimidate, if It was introduced now, but it's introduced at the same time we get Landorus and Ursaluna, and so I don't think it's going to intimidate things and still just drop.
And Urshifu.
And yeah, Urshifu too. So like, don't try to play defensively with this thing. Just click head smash.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good time.
I'm gonna definitely try it out. That seems like fun.
All right, I'll go for Basculegion. Basculegion seems like a very fun Pokemon. Both of its abilities, I guess all three, but Mold Breaker's not as exciting. Swift Swim seems really cool, but adaptability maybe even cooler. We got a good Pokemon with Last Respects. This thing actually has decent bulk, got good stats. It hits so hard. It gets Wave Crash as well. So like Wave Crash in the rain, Terra Water, Choice Band. That one shot Microcelia. I was just like, oh, all right, yeah, that fish is big. That's a big fish. I love it. It's also like when I was playing Legend Arceus when they were announcing the Mons, it was like easily my favorite design. And like the lore behind this thing, it's like it Last Respects is apparently like it takes all the like spirits of its dead brothers and like hits you with them, and it's like, oh, this fish is so metal. Love it.
I'll never forget the way Rosemary like announced that Pokemon in the first trailer, because like so upbeat and happy. She's like, it evolves after the spirits of its dead allies.
Yeah, I forgot Rosemary narrated that trailer. Yeah. Good shout. All right, Adi, what's your pick?
All right, so the first thing I want to say, I have a cold take and a hot take. Or a take that Pokemon is actually low-key bad. I think that like contrary and Amoris, I was like really high on this day one. It's like, this is the new Annihilate. You get to bulk up while also like doing damage. It's really cool. And then I tested it out and it kind of sucked. And then Moxie Boosted tweeted about it seriously and Alex tweeted about it facetiously. And I was like, yeah, no, this mod isn't good. It's not. It doesn't get to do it. It doesn't get to do what it's trying to do. It doesn't get recovery. It doesn't get Rage Fist. It's just not. It has really bad bulk. Like it is not a bulky Pokemon. There's probably a way to build it that's pretty decent, but like the bulk up strat with Tinglu is not it. But the Pokemon that I think is really cool is Hisui and Electrode. Electric and Grass is amazing typing, only weak to Fire, Bug, Poison, and Ice. Fire and Ice will see some play, but Bug and Poison rarely do. But weaknesses don't really matter for this glass cannon. Abilities, Static and Aftermath are just okay, but Soundproof is always nice to have. Hyper Voice and Parry Song always see play. I don't know if these stats don't look amazing.
I thought we weren't allowed to clown on Reddit posts. If we're clowning on Reddit posts, I want to clown on the one that said like, man, I'm so mad about Sneasler being added with Dire Claw, like, and it's also got Unburden, which means everyone's gonna run it with weakness policy. And it was just like, wait, hold on. I understand all the complaints about Dire Claw and everything, but how did we get to like, yeah, weakness policy is just mandatory on this Pokemon. It's got like 60 bulk, like it's gonna take all these hits. And I was like, all right, it's not a Dynamax format, chill.
Okay, my real pick is Cleavor. I think this Pokemon's super cool. It just sets up Stealth Rocks with a powerful move, and I think that's just a really cool niche to have if the metagame ever slows down, especially if Enamorus, Tornadus, Thunderous become more common. Those are just like really, really good traits to have. And I don't know if it'll be good right away, but again, if the metagame ever slows down or if you find a way to slow the metagame down, I think this is really powerful.
Okay, keep it going fast. I'm not going to shit on Adi's Cleavor pick because I don't have the time. The two other things that we have in here that are important to mention are one, Ladder is out now. Came out on Showdown today, so that's awesome. You don't have to rely on the room tours anymore. So shout outs to the Showdown staff for getting that done. And secondly, I do have to ask for your guys' opinions on this being the first Worlds ever to be run in a new format. We've had suspicions about this with Regulation C ending in June. However, now that it's been officially confirmed that Regulation C is not the Worlds format, Regulation D, a format that is going to be new, the first official tournament being Worlds. Let's start with Austin this time. Austin, what are your thoughts on that? Like that part? Not exactly. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify really quick. Not exactly the context of the format Regulation D as it is, adding in Urshifu, Ursaluna, and Regilucky. I'm talking about just the concept of Worlds being a new format in general.
I think it's super lame just because I'm tired of these like super short formats. Like that's really it. Like I wish that I would love it if like home stuff was added like after Worlds. But honestly, like I just kind of wish that we were just playing one format this whole season. I'm tired of like changing it up every couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it's not giving anything like breathing room for like interesting things to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I would much rather see, 8 more months of New Balance. I agree. Nash, let's hear what you have to say about the format or about the announcement.
Yeah, like along with the sentiment as well, like if you recall back in 17, we had like AFK and GACT or whatever. Like
Hmm.
people were whining about how the meta doesn't spin around. We need to change rules, rule sets, whatever. But well, back in 17, we ended up having a whole new different meta game in Worlds. Like meta evolves itself. It doesn't just stay there. Like people are gonna find creative ways to go against it or anything. So I'm pretty much against changing rule sets so much, but what's still the rule itself, it's kind of interesting. So I'm like looking forward to well, David from Victory Road announced that he will be having major tour before Worlds so people can participate. And Cobalt from
Yeah,
Japan is already holding up some tours.
we're
So
definitely going to see some good
I'm
grassroots.
yeah, I'm looking forward to those stuff where metagame actually like builds up.
Yeah, we will like that's the thing that people might get twisted is we are definitely going to have metagame development despite there being no official tournaments. It is not going to be like this super fresh thing 2 months from now where people are so confused on what they actually need to be beating.
Aren't we all in
Um,
agreement? We're all gonna play our first best of three regulation D at World.
that's the only. No, no, no. You could play best of one on ladder though. But you're right. Yeah, that's the first best of three. Good point.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, since I for equal blows, I got to tear down Nash's opinion too. 2017 was just too baller of a format. There was infinite possibilities in that one, and I don't think it's the same for other formats. And so, yeah, 2017 was just the exception. That format was a beautiful year.
Yeah.
Um, but no, we definitely could see some more developments if we had longer formats. I do agree um, with both what you and Austin were saying. Adi, what's your take on it?
I kind of have mixed feelings because I do agree. I like longer formats. I really wish we had Series 1 for an entire year. That was my main opinion, where I think that would have been a really fun format to play for a full, 8-month season. I think that even this format, you continue to see development. Again, you see stuff like Magnezone start to pop up a lot more. Earthworm is finally starting to see a lot more usage. I would call it like a tier 1.5 meta threat right now as compared to being tier like 2 or 2.5 up until this point. All of a sudden popping up everywhere. You do see New Balance is obviously kind of completely taken over, and I'm sure that we're going to see reactions to that. We're going to see new ways to use like Palafin. It's too powerful a Pokemon not to see play. Going to see new Dondozo variants pop up. We saw Rushel do really well. We saw like it's just gonna. I think this metagame still has some room to grow. Although that being said, it is still getting kind of stale. Like I am pretty bored of it. I'm not like super happy playing it. It's not like I'm kind of forcing myself to prepare for Fresno and NASC. Obviously, announcement of Regulation D does make it harder to prepare. It makes me a lot easier to get distracted with these tournaments, and I almost think like it puts a damper on it. I know that I'm going to reference Yu-Gi-Oh. Alex is going to be mad, but I know in Yu-Gi-Oh they announced a new ban list during one of the biggest events of the year in Philadelphia, YCS Philadelphia, and also UK Nationals. And everyone was just like, well, like, what's the point? Like, why are we playing this old format when there's a new format coming out in 2 weeks? This is even more so like, why am I playing Regulation C when Regulation D is coming out soon? It just feels like a waste, even though obviously the North American Championships are in Regulation C. That being said, I have no problems with Worlds being in a new format. Obviously, I know I've seen people calling it like a Mickey Mouse Worlds because this is not normally the way it does it. I know it's kind of weird for Pokemon players, but this is not unusual for other esports. And I think that by and large, Worlds has rewarded the players who find a team and get really comfortable with it as compared to players who break the metagame because formats are so developed by this point. And we saw this at 2022 Worlds when like Edu won with a team that had been around for months, that had won that, like we saw win Secaucus Regionals is basically the same team. We saw Casti use the same team he used in EUIC with some small tweaks and get second at Worlds, right? And it's just like Paul Chua used a team that was built by Maluka, like at the very 3 months into the format, like it wasn't super interesting. And so this is going to be a really really exciting Worlds to watch, and also it's going to reward team builders more than it's going to reward the players who get super comfortable, and I think that's fine. I think that if you are a type of player who really likes getting comfortable with a team and building it over the course of a year, and that's you've had your
Then
chances
you're
at Worlds.
boring.
You've had your chances at Worlds. You've had every single World Championship up until this point has been in your format. Hopefully you've got your World results already. This is a format for people who there are some players who we've seen who consistently do very well early format and kind of fall off because they're really good team builders.
Man, this guy was swole.
I can keep. I have so many opinions about this, dude.
I know that this is it's a very dense topic, and I'm not trying to cut you off. I didn't mean
Sorry,
to be rude,
but okay. I think I got the point across. This is a builders worlds. It's going to be a little different. I think that's okay. Anyways, let's talk about let's do Calcus right. I think we've covered most of it.
damn, I guess I don't get to give my take. It's fine.
Didn't you give your take already?
I do agree with Adi. I think it's wait, did I give my take already?
You gave your take already.
Wait, I thought I was just like
You can go ahead.
I was critiquing their takes.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Oh, yeah.
Do your thing.
But yeah, no, I just agree with Adi. I think that it's an exciting thing for it to be a builders worlds. Regulation C is so boring. I don't really care if Regulation D is good or bad. Every format is fun for one tournament. Like even the worst formats are like, well, the first tournament's fun because we don't realize why it sucks. And I think that's going to be something that's going to be really awesome about this Worlds is just like Adi said, it's the best spectator event that you're going to see. Everybody's playing something that, while it is going to be played at the grassroots level, hasn't been played at a major level. We haven't seen like what the highest caliber players are using, and they're going to all pull out all the stops. Like this is a format that you're going to see good builders like Nails break in a really cool way, like Wolf, who are going to like what are they cooking? We all want to know. And it's just going to be really cool for spectators, but also players, in my opinion. So, I don't know. I'm hella hyped. I'm surprised that my poll had so many people that were sad. But let's move on to the Calc is always right. That's the Calc is right. Apparently, people want to remove the always. People have beef with this always. So the Calc is right. Let's I don't know who do we have start? Adi, what do you think? Well,
all right.
Hopefully everybody's familiar with the game by now.
All right, Austin, you want to go first?
Yes, I will go first. The calc that I have is something that I kind of had to think about during the tournament because I played a guy round 2 who did not know that the tournament was going to be doubles, so he put his team together at the last minute the night before. And looking at his team sheet, it looked normal on paper. Like I saw things, so yeah, I know what those are. And then I looked at it, I was like, wait, what? So, how much does a 252 Adamant Terra Normal Talonflame Giga Impact do to a guard chomp?
No bulk.
No bulk.
You said 252 Jolly?
252 Adamant.
Was there an item associated?
There was an item, but it would not have affected the Giga Impact. It was
That's what I'm
flat.
asking. If there was there an item in the Calc? There was not.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I've got my number.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a number. Nash, you got a number?
Do I write it somewhere?
No, just
so-
have it.
Yeah,
just kind
I'll
of
keep
lock
it in
in verbally, just like lock in, just like we just ask if you have your number, and then.
Okay, I have my number.
Okay. All right. Why don't you give your number first then?
My take is 45%.
45%. Okay.
All
Adi?
right, I'm thinking 80%.
I'm gonna go. No, it's got it. You guys are so off. I'm gonna go 100, but I honestly was gonna pick 109 before that, but I'm gonna back down to 100. All right. So don't spoiler it, Adi. Go ahead and start plugging it in. Austin, you know the answer though, right? Just to confirm that Adi types it in correctly.
Let me know if this is right. What I have on screen. I see 252 attack, Adamant, Terra Normal, Talonflame, Giga Impact into 0/0 Garchomp does 59 to 69%. So none of us got it right.
Wow.
Oh.
I thought it was just dropping it. This is something.
It does nothing. It was the weirdest thing because I like looked at it and I saw Talonflame and I saw Tailwind. I was like, cool, and I was like, Terra Normal, huh? And then I was like, Giga Impact.
Did your heart stop for a second when
It did.
the attack landed? Like,
For like a brief second, I was like, here it comes, and I was like, oh, never mind, we're fine.
Oh wait, it was Terra Normal? Ah, okay.
what did you guess, Adi?
I guessed 80.
Okay. So it sounds like you were no, actually, not. I don't know who's close. It's not important. We were all wrong.
Yeah.
Nash, what is your calc that you are bringing today?
Okay, so this calc is actually what I was considering when I was initially building Earthworm.
Okay.
This is actually I thought it fits to the theme because we talked about Earthworm today.
Yep.
And so what does 100 and Adamant Dondozo Wave Crash do to Cryogonal with zero bulk?
Cryogonal.
Does Sendoso have the commander boost?
Uh, Commander boost.
So it just have to
No,
touch gear.
like without the boost, without the boost.
Okay.
Without the boost.
Because
This-
without the
wait,
boost,
I'm
because
confused. Was this a trick? There's nothing to do with Earthworm.
it's without the boost because I wanted a Dondozo check in my Cryogonal team. B,
Yeah.
I wanted a Levitate, so it goes with the Tinglu.
Oh, I get it now. I follow.
And it learns Haze.
And it gets haze. Yes, of course.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
All right. So, but how much is the Dozo Wave Crash doing to the thing? I have my number.
Are we saying, wait, is this with or without the commander boost? I forgot.
Without Commander boost.
Yes,
Because it's after Haze.
And
Oh,
you said,
gotcha,
and you said
okay.
100 attack adamant, right?
Yep. 100 attack adamant.
Okay, I got it.
Adi, are you locked in?
Yeah, I'm locked in.
Okay, Nash, pick on who you want to go first.
Adi, maybe?
I'm saying it does 95.
Ooh. That's kind of...
No spoiler, no spoiler.
Yeah, I'm not spoiling.
Okay,
Interesting choice, like I would say.
Pick somebody else then.
Austin, maybe?
55.
Okay.
All right, I wanted to say that it's just like way too dead, and maybe I'm crazy, but I'm picking a number that I locked in previously, 120. It's a snowflake. It drops, man. Like this thing
It's a
is so
literal
dead.
snowflake.
This thing is
Alright.
so dead.
I
Yep,
pulled
now,
it up.
like...
And what I'm seeing, let me know if I did something wrong. What I'm seeing, 100
Yeah,
attack adamant
you're right.
is doing 91 to 108% against Cryogonal.
All right, Adi
Yep.
got it.
Yeah.
This was the
Adi.
reason I didn't end up using it.
No.
Oh, come on. You could
Poor
even live it.
Cryogonal.
Look, see,
You
that's
could
it's
even
just that
live
much. That's nothing.
Well, I did play GC2 with it, at the least.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
All
Okay.
right.
Uh,
Alex, you want to go?
Sure, I'll go. Okay, I actually have mine ready to paste in the chat here. I'll paste it and then read it. Make sure it's the spoiler-free version. Although I want to cut out one part that's actually I'm realizing is in here because it's spoiler and I think it's more fun. Okay. 252 attack, hustle, flapple, heavy slam versus no bulk flutter.
Huh.
Oh, how much does Flapple weigh?
You don't get to look that up, by the way. Don't go looking that up.
Oh man.
And so normally the
First
base
you gotta
power
guess
of
the base
Heavy
power.
Slam the base power is normally listed in the damage calc, but I omitted that because that's too much information. I want you guys to just know. You have to know these things. If you're playing Flutterman, you have to know what all these heavy slams are gonna do.
I mean, but we don't play Flapple, though.
I think I
All
got
right.
it.
Okay, Austin, you're locked in.
Yeah.
Adi,
Yeah, I
you
have
locked
the
in.
numbers, too.
Yep.
Okay, Nash, you're locked in. Adi.
Yeah, I'm locked in.
Okay, let's start with Austin.
I'm guessing 80%.
80% on the dot. All right, Nash, what is it?
Okay, I'm gonna go cheeky and I'm gonna go for 120 because you've been like on it.
Okay. Adi?
I think it's doing 105.
105. All right, go ahead and start plugging that bad boy in.
All right. Let's find
Yeah.
out how
By
much.
the way, the heavy slam base power is 40 because Flapple
Okay.
weighs less than Fluttermane.
Okay. Got
My
Hustle.
approach today was I looked up Pokemon that learn heavy slam that weigh less than 20 kilograms because that is the like it would get a lower than 120 base power onto Flutter. It turns out I was like originally going to do Appleton, but then it turns out Flapple actually weighs less than Flutter, literally less than it.
So I did think it was going to be 40 base power. I also kind of figured Hustle boosted Heavy Slam was doing a lot, even if it was 40 base power.
I picked it because Hustle makes you think that it's going to do more.
Yeah. It is doing
Uh,
83 to 98, if I got this right.
You did, yeah. You plugged it in correctly. Um,
Man.
So I think Austin was undercutting it, and then I think both of you overshot it.
A little bit,
Yep.
yeah. I was like, what if I do 100%? Like, it's probably a roll to kill. And I was like, no, that's I got to do something a little more creative. So 105, 100 was not hitting it, but that's crazy. 40 base power. This is like a real attack.
Wise Dog asks, did we find out if Alex's Flutter going down to Ice Spinner was a roll? Yeah, it was a roll. It was like a 68%. I knew going into it that he was adamant. I didn't know exactly how much damage I would take, but I knew that I would have a chance to live and also win the speed tie. Lost the speed tie, lost the roll. Unfortunate, but whatever. Happens.
All right.
But yeah, Adi, you have to give us your last calc.
Yeah,
Your calc.
okay. This is something that came up in my Regulation D building. I might have spoiled this for Alex. I hope not. It is the Guts boosted max attack Ursaluna Facade into +1 defense, 252 HP, 4 defense. What's it called? Enamorous with Contrary. So the non-bulky form, right? So you got a superpower off. You're like, yeah, gonna take this Ursaluna attack. How much do you take?
I actually know the answer to this.
Guts boosted facade.
Guts boosted Facade.
No Terra.
No Terra.
Okay.
And you have a defense boost.
And
And you have a +1 defense and your max HP 4 defense.
Okay, got my number.
Got my number too.
I got my number.
All right, Alex, I'll start with you.
116. I've been picking way big numbers today, but we're doing it.
Nash, what you got?
I'm going for 120 again because I did this exact matchup with Maluka.
Okay.
And Austin.
Mine's gonna be 110.
110.
All right.
Okay.
Well, Austin, you are right. Alex, I think you're right too. It is 101 to 119.
Nice.
So you're just a little off. It's not quite doing 120.
That's tough.
But yeah,
That is tough.
Damn.
this is what I was saying with Enamorous. I was like, oh yeah, Tinglu Enamorous, this is gonna be sick. I'm gonna click superpower a bunch. It is not as bulky as Annihilate, and that's such a huge difference. It's just not, the boosts are not doing enough. You gotta get a +2 to live a Facade. You can't afford that. So
How much does it do if you Terra Ghost?
how much does Headlong Rush do if you Terra Ghost?
Well, also, what if they're scrappy instead of guts?
Does it get
But also they Terra normaled.
does it get scrappy?
No. No, it doesn't get scrappy.
No.
Oh man, that'd be sick.
Well, you need too.
I don't scrappy on this guy. That's crazy. All right. Well, we've gone on long enough. We've kind of been rambling a little bit, but we had a lot to cover this week. This was a really big week, and we really wanted to talk a lot more about what was happening over in Asia. And Nash, thank you so much for coming on to give your perspective on everything that's going on over in Korea.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And Austin, thank you for coming on as well. Congratulations on getting your Worlds invite. I don't think we emphasized that, but going to Japan, congratulations.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm super happy. It was a great weekend. despite you constantly doubting me, Audie.
If you didn't lose to the Dunsparce, I wouldn't have doubted you. Okay. Besides, I told you not to.
You didn't bring the Dunsparce.
That's true. I brought the Squawkabilly. The Squawkabilly put in work. Hey, listen. I told you not to use Dindozo, and look where it got you. Your first tournament in a while, not using Dindozo, and you cut. No surprise. I believed in you. I told you that only bad. I told you not to be a bad player, and you weren't. Anyways. I don't know. I think that's the ultimate sign of belief, is telling your friend not to use Dindozo. That's really it.
Yeah, if you didn't believe me, you'd be like, yeah, you should go with Dondozo. It's a good pick. I think you'll do far.
I think you'll get top 16. So with that, thank you all for watching. I'm going to just remind everyone that if you missed out on the first part of this, has been a long stream. You can find it on YouTube, which you can find with the exclamation mark YT command. So make sure to go give me a subscription over there, and then you can see everyone's Twitter handles up above Alex. And so you can go and follow Nash, follow Austin. Don't follow Alex. His tweets are awful. But yeah, that's all. Any final words you guys want to give?
No, I was just repeating what Adi said. Thank you to both of you for being on.
Lastly, but I said this before. Thanks for having me, and let's just hope all our circuits go back to normal.
I'm hoping that too.
All right.
All right. So I guess we have to figure out who to raid. Adi, you have any ideas?
So I was gonna raid Roose Bane, the Dodd, another Austin local, who DM'd me asking for cool teams we were gonna cover on Tub Take, so now I have to raid him. He's using the a colossal team that Satsuku that Gen Ray's used to get top 16 at Singapore Nationals, and so you can make sure to go check him out. But yeah, we're gonna
say hi from us.
Go tell him where you came from, and yeah, until next time, see you guys.